Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radiant Black podcast. This is a podcast focused on Radiant Black and Image Comics superhero series and superhero universe called the Massiverse, all started by Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Costa. I'm one of your hosts, Bashar, and I'm joined by my amazing friends and my radiant fellow co-hosts,
Ali,
Matt,
and Charlie.
All right, everybody. So the way we're going to get it done today is that we're just going to talk like it's a normal episode about the characters and our rankings of them. We're going to put a poll while we're talking about each character, and you can vote. Unfortunately, YouTube only lets us put 4 options for the poll. So what we're going to do is we're going to have S, A, B, C as the options. And if you really feel D being the lowest, if you really feel a character is D, then just type that. There's no better way to express your feelings about a D-list character than just to spam D all over the chat and let us know how you truly feel about that.
So paying Fs is not paying respects at all. It's quite the opposite.
And we just want to be clear, right? Like, just not to offend anybody. When we rank these characters, they're not a ranking of like F doesn't mean the character is a shit character. F could just mean that the character's morals, they don't resonate with us and we don't like them, but that just means that the writing is still really good. For example, during year 1 of the tier list, when we had a lot less characters, a lot of people gave Owen an F, but we all credited how good Cherish Chen was as a writer to make us hate Owen so much to give him an F, basically.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Just putting that out there. They're not, the grades are really
even a lot of characters are super cool, super badass, but we haven't seen enough of them to know enough, right? So yeah, no, you're totally right on that.
Yeah, so just a disclaimer out there. Nobody get upset if their favorite character doesn't get an S or gets an F or something like that. It's all good. It's all for fun. We might do a little giveaway or a little something at the end. So stick around and you'll find out. There's always something fun and special and surprising at the Reading Black podcast, and we're going to have a good time. So without further ado, let's get started with the tier list.
Shout out to Owen and Capital J already here in the chat. Gotta love it.
Oh, yeah. Good to see everybody.
Good to see
We've got
everyone.
some background music as well, so we'll play. Let me know in the chat if it's too loud, but we'll play some Radiant Black music actually, so it doesn't get better than that. Radiant Black.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
So, alrighty, let's do this. Share screen.
who are we starting with first?
We're starting with 001.
Makes sense.
Did it zoom down or no? I think it's. I shared the wrong one once.
It's still at the top.
Alrighty. Yeah, we're starting with 001.
Good bop. I want to kill some demons now. It feels like it's about to start breaking into like Doom Eternal or something, or it's 2016. Sweet. But yeah,
All right.
001.
001. So we'll just go from top to bottom. So we'll do me, Firefly, Charlie, Matt. At least that's how I see it. I think 001 is an A for me because I think they have everything to be an S tier character, but they've really they haven't been in the story enough for me to give them an S tier, even though I think they have all the qualities. Like if we find out more about their origin, which I think eventually we will, maybe in Catalyst 4, they'll probably hit that S tier. But for now, I'm going to give them an A because they have peak everything. Peak design, great characterization, good writing, involved in enough issues for me to feel good about the A, but just missing out on the S.
For me, I think I'll give him an A too. 001, I think his entrance into the Radiant Black and Massiverse universe was huge. He made a big impression on all of us. He looked super cool. He kicked everybody's ass. But since then, it's kind of like tapered off a little bit, so I'm probably going to go with an A as well.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with a B plus on this one. Are we doing like plus and minuses, or like I can do like I'm gonna go with B tier on this just because like I was kind of thinking of this before. There's so many good characters in this. Like I was kind of trying to rank them a bit in my head, but I think we just like Bash said, this character has every like potential to be an S tier, but I think we just need to learn a little more. The design's awesome, all the powers are awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a B on 001. Might be controversial.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, nothing wrong standing up. A tier for me though. I mean, the design is amazing. What haven't we already said? You forget the early days how sick the costume is. Like 001 is ingrained in the lore of Radiant Black. We go to Existence, we expect 001 to be there to kind of fill us in. So I feel like it's got to be A tier for me.
Yeah. I guess recency
Right.
bias for me on that one. Kind of like he's
that's-
kind of dropped off the radar a little bit for me. But he's
No,
going to come
100%,
back soon.
100%.
Yeah.
So from the chat, we have 60% of you said B, and 40% said A. Me and Bash both said A. So
I said A too.
what are we thinking, guys?
I'm thinking B. I gotta
I
give
think
it.
B tier as well.
I'd say B's fair.
Chat's with me. I love it.
All right.
I'm gonna go with the live averages here, and I think it seems we have a 60-40 split overall, including
Yeah.
that. So I'll put it on B. Yeah, great,
Alright.
great design though. Next we've got Arclight, right, from Cal.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read Cal in a while, I apologize. I think Arclight for me is a B. I don't think he's one of the bigger characters in the story, even though he has some substantial appearances. I think personally, I resonated with Eclipse a lot more. The Great Raven is more iconic. Blaze looks better, so it's like Arclight really was just like kind of there for me. Like he was just one of the guys that was okay. So like he had good story moments, but like by no means was he like super memorable for me. So I'll give him like a B.
Arclight for me, I kind of agree, but I'm gonna go C for that one. He didn't really have like a lasting impression on me. He was kind of just kind of in the background. He didn't really have very strong convictions in the story, so I'm gonna go with C on this one. Chris is gonna abstain. Okay, that's fair.
I respect.
I'm with the C on this one as well. We need some characters kind of in the lower tiers, and I think as we go on to the more recognizable characters, it's just gonna be hard to fill out those spots. But like I think he has, without spoiling anything, he does have a big moment kind of later on in Cowl. Like that definitely is one of my favorite moments in the whole story actually. But yeah, I think there is some other characters I prefer. So yeah, I'm gonna go with C on this one.
I haven't read Cal, so I'm going to refrain from voting. I don't think it'd be fair, right? So as a filthy casual, I'm going to stand up for the filthy casual and say, I don't know, and I'm not going to make a vote.
Fair, love it.
That was the chat.
Okay, so chat did B. Everybody said B.
Oh, okay.
A little controversial, in my
Oh,
opinion.
same as 001. Okay.
Yeah. People
Wow.
feeling me on this one. I like it.
Wow.
All right, Blaze. I mean, guys, Blaze, Reginald James, like himself playing Blaze. Like, I don't know, man. Come on. I got to be real here. Like, I don't want to give Blaze an S because that's bullshit, right? Like, maybe in design because there's the Nightwing elements and everything. So, like, S design for sure. But I think giving Blaze an S would just be unfair. Like, like he just doesn't deserve an S. Like, he's not in the story that much, even though he's an important part of it. I for that reason, I'll say A for me because he's really important. He has an amazing design. He's actually a really cool character. He has some memorable dialogue lines. If you watch the League, he has a really cool scene in the League as well. Like a lot of the effects were saved for him. His character's dope. So I'll give him an A. I want to, like, I'm close to the S because like he had the versus animation and that was really memorable, and he was brought to life by by Eduardo and Marcelo, then different animators that we love. So in that sense, I'm super sentimental about it. Oops, sorry about that, but I'm gonna give him an A.
I'm gonna stick with B for Blaze. It makes sense. They both start with B, but he was kind of. I think for me, the reason I like Blaze is more the animation than in Cowl. I really didn't like him that much in Cowl as a character. So yeah, I'm gonna keep him in the B tier.
That's fair. I think I'm gonna join Bash on this one and go A. Yeah, I think not quite S tier. I think if we I'm just gonna stick with A on this one.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like if you could have his glove, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That is true. He has one of the coolest power sets. But like honestly, when I think of Cowl, that's the character I do think of. So yeah, I'll go with A for Mr. Blaze there.
I haven't read Cal, but I mean, I've seen the clip that he was in, which would obviously put him higher up above the other Cal characters for me. I feel like the Nightwing inspiration's a little too heavy. Like, it just straight up, it's like Nightwing.
Yeah.
It's cool to have it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
But also, yeah, you don't want to rob
Totally,
yourself of
totally.
like, yeah, your own identity. So I
I
mean,
agree.
the appearance I think is cool. I like the idea of the character from what I got. I still feel dirty voting, but like I'm gonna say A because like the appearance in the crossover melded the universes and kind of like really
Yeah.
changes the way that I view the character. As in not at all because I haven't read Cal, but just combining those two universes, I think that's a pretty big deal, and it's gonna give him some points for me.
Owen remembers the line from the comic book. I love it. Yeah, yeah. Marshall did want to cosplay. It is really cool though. Like I sort of got it's to me. It's like I like the the Radiant Black universe and Masterverse has always been low key inspired by other universes, some Marvel, some DC, obviously some of their own things. And you can see when it's like when there's like analogs. I don't like that word, but for lack of a better word, but like the glove is kind of like an Infinity Gauntlet in some senses, in that it's a cool, powerful glove, right? Not as powerful, obviously. And then you have like Into the Massiverse and things like that, where they obviously use like jokes like Spider-Verse titles and stuff like that. But I love that kind of thing. I love like them paying homage to that kind of stuff, but twisting it and playing within their own way. So we all said A for the most part on this pod. What did the chat say, Andy?
So let's see, 6 votes. We got half of them. So 3 people said B, 1 person said C, and 2 people said A. So I think it's safe to say Blaze belongs in the B tier.
Okay.
That hurts, man.
It does a little.
Hey, you
bit.
said it in the beginning, man. Don't get hurt when one of your favorite characters is in last tier.
I'm gonna
You said
spoil
it.
one thing. It's not a story spoiler, kind of, but not really. It's a spoiler for the trivia or for the tier list. So we actually added Existence as a character, kind of like how Gotham City is a character, because I think Existence is kind of a character, and we'll talk about that later. But we added that, and that's gonna be fun. So there's that. So XL is the next character. XL is brutal. I like XL a lot. I think I'm gonna say B for me. I think C would personally like. I don't want to like paint anyone's like choice, but I think it would be harsh a bit because like his moments in the story were really memorable. When he destroyed that pizza shop, like that's something that you're gonna like remember for the rest of the story. You're gonna be like, Alex, that one hurt. And if you're a Marshall fan, you want Marshall to be Radiant Black. That's a traumatic moment for Marshall. So I really like that whole introduction. That issue had such good art. That was the first time we saw dark mode Radiant Black as well. So there was a lot of big character moments that like Zhao brought out of Marshall himself. So I'll give him a B, but I think he has the potential to go higher with more appearances easily.
I'd give him a B as well, mostly for the same reason. It was the same first person we saw that really pushed Marshall hard enough, so far enough that he went into dark mode. And as far as like Radiant Black's Rogues Gallery, he's not quite my favorite, so I'm gonna go with B tier for me. Honestly, if it wasn't for the dark mode, he'd probably be C, but I'm B tier for him.
Yeah, honestly, I'm with you on that. I think that's like the only really his power display was really cool, but I don't think like really his personality or anything was like too memorable for me. He was a little shit for sure. I remember struggling on his name many times. But yeah, no, he's I wish I could do like a C plus here. But I'll go with C. I'll go with C. You know what? There's a lot of rogues.
There's nothing wrong with being C too. Like I like the character, but any character could have brought Kate mode out of Marshall. Realistically, we needed to do that. Like that's cool and stuff. I appreciate Kate mode, but are we talking about the character itself? And the Rogues Gallery, we introduced a lot of characters in those teen. Yeah, we introduced a lot of characters in the teens. So like someone has to be C tier. I don't hate the character. There's definitely a high ceiling for this character if we want to flesh it out. But I'd say C tier for now for me.
Okay,
right, that's fair.
I thought you were going to go with a D. I thought you were going all the way down on that one. Yeah.
So what's the people saying?
All right, chat said B. Out of 4 votes, 3 of them picked B. So
holy.
Oh, look at him. He's riding a unicycle there, and don't forget.
Oh yeah.
XL and Sheer had that camaraderie going.
Oh yeah,
sure. That partnership going. That for me keeps that solid at a B for me personally. I love that partnership, man. Plus, look at him.
That's a good point.
What kind of douchebag rides a unicycle in the middle of a Sinister Six kind of fight? What? Like that's come on. Anyway, we got Ori next. There's gonna be some heated heads on this one because I know some people are gonna say S on Ori right away. This is gonna be like S. S. Look, I'm gonna say A because Ori's great. She's been in a lot of issues. She's been really memorable in a lot of issues. She is good. Like, I just like her dynamic with the rest of the family and everything, where she fits in it all. I think what she's done led to some really interesting moments in the story, even though she's not in it anymore. Like, what she did led to Caleb being back ultimately. So it's like that led to more interesting story overall. So I like that. So I'll give her A. And what pushes her over a B for me into A is that moment in Radiant Black 18 when you see her in the future. I think that just showed you that like they have ideas for this character, that like they could do some cool stuff with her. So that puts her at A for me.
You know, Ori's a little difficult for me because she gives me a roller coaster of emotions, man. I originally hated her when she's like, you know, that prissy girl who's jealous of Dylan, and then she releases to Monica, but then she's in the future fighting whatever is there with Wendell. So I think just because she's a well-written character, in my opinion, I'm gonna give her an A.
Yep, I'm gonna go co-sign with you guys on that. Yeah, she was super suspicious at first, but yeah, her reasonings for that, you can tell she definitely has the right intentions. Whether she goes about it the right way or not, that could be questionable. But no, she's an enjoyable character, and yeah, Radiant Black 18. There's a lot of questions to be answered about that character. So yeah, I'll go with A on that.
Yeah, of the flock of seagulls, she's one of my favorites. I think that she's really got a high ceiling. She's just what she brings in the dynamic. She feels really layered for a character that hasn't been like massively prominent. Like she's been there, and her appearance in Radiant Black 18 really kind of is like, oh shit, we're doing this. Like I feel like she could be really cool going forward, and I'd like to see more from her character. So definitely A tier for me.
All right, and I think it's safe to say Chad agrees. Out of 7 votes, 71% of you, I don't know how many that is, 6 probably. 6 people said A, so I think it's safe to say Ori's an A tier.
I'm glad this is like the first time for the most part everyone unanimously.
I know, it's scary, man. I'm waiting for it to go downhill.
Billy Blood Moon is next. Billy Blood Moon, I give him a C. I don't want to say D because maybe D. No, that's harsh. C. I'll say C because like he's pretty cool. Like just the idea of Billy Blood Moon's hilarious and funny, and like I think Rogue Sun has a lot of like pretty serious villains that are like psychopaths, and more or less this guy's more just an idiot. So I really like that. I think the design's solid. Nothing special, but nothing like nothing crazy, nothing special, but nothing bad or anything like that. Just good, solid. So I'll give him a C. But he hasn't been around that much either. So yeah.
I want to shout out to Owen for remembering when I called him Billy Hillbilly, but yeah.
Billy Hillbilly.
I couldn't remember his name at the time, but anyways, for Billy, I'm actually gonna give him a C. He's a werewolf, guys. He's a hillbilly werewolf. It'd be more exciting maybe if we saw the rest of his family, but for now, I'm gonna give Billy a C.
Billy a C. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I'm probably gonna have to join you guys just because of the amount of rogues we got in Rogue Sun, and just based on I think Billy only has like 1 or 2 appearances. A lot of the other rogues have like 4, 5, 6 appearances already. So yeah, I just don't think we've seen enough of him. Yeah, cool design. He's got wings, right? Like this guy can fly around. I believe so. I believe so. So that's kind of badass. But yeah, I'll go with C on him.
Yeah. It's not like Black Mirror where we're shoving werewolves where they don't belong. They definitely fit in here for sure. Not to swipe at Black Mirror, but come on. Yeah, Billy Blood Moon. I think the other Blood Moons will rank higher for me when we meet them, but right now he's just kind of run of the mill, kind of like Cletus Cassidy, just kind of like not entirely like Cletus, like sadistic, but just kind of like the country kind of character. I've seen it before. I would need to see more Blood Moons. For now, C.
Agreed. And chat agrees with us as well. Out of 7 votes, 86% of them said C. So there's actually Chris in the chat said he's a D for me, but
Chris
it's fair, Chris.
I like that.
Yeah, love it.
I like that comment a lot. That's fair. I honestly respect everyone's opinion. Everyone's like has a fair opinion. They're solid. Like nobody's wrong, right? It's all just opinions. But
yeah,
I can
this is one we've all had our eye on.
Baby, this is the baby. Oh baby, this is the first controversial one. This is the one I was looking forward to the most, and I did not like plan it this way. So there's no like, if you look at it, I think it's alphabetical. So there's no like, we didn't plan this. Braden, baby. Oh, okay. I don't know how to rank this. I want to rank him S purely on just how good of a douche he is. But if we're being realistic, I'll just give him like D, because like I think this is the guy. This is not Owen in the chat, but Owen from Radiant Red. This is the new Owen, pre partial rehabilitation, because like Owen was on his path to changing at the end of Radiant Red, whereas Braden's just an asshole. So, and he's an asshole for years. Yeah, pre open button shirt, he was an asshole. Pre beard, he was an asshole, because we got them flashbacks, and he was just a douchebag. So I'm gonna say D, because I feel like this is gonna be the character the community wants to collectively shit on. So let's just do it. Let's just have fun.
Yeah, man. Everybody, just a quick. Everybody in the poll is already saying C tier, 100%. So I'm gonna go with D tier. Actually, I'm pretty sure y'all will agree too if it could go lower.
Wait, the chat saying C tier for Braden?
Because I can only put 4, so I do S, A, B, C.
Yeah. Okay.
They're saying C, F tier. So
okay.
Lower G.
Okay. That yeah, I wish you could keep scrolling down on that tier list, but I'll settle with the D for now. I'll settle with the D. This guy.
Here we go.
That's enough.
We're not ranking him as a person. Like, if you can write something on a page and then someone can draw it, and you can get so much emotion from line work and color and pigment, I'm pretty sure that that's a well-written character and pretty well done. So I'm actually going to say 100%. A for Braden, because we hate this fucker. This is like
you
a person
could easily
that
argue
we know.
that. I love that. Okay,
Yeah,
I love it.
I like your reasoning, and I feel like you could go either way. It's because you hate him so much that he's an F tier character, but it's because he's so
love
written
to hate
that he
him.
could be an
I
S
love
tier
to hate
character.
him,
Yeah.
Makes you feel something.
Yeah, I would legitimately rank him higher if he showed up more, but like his D is like an honorary D, because like he got it for being such a douchebag. So he was so effective, he got a D. So this one's more of a trophy than anything when you think about it.
Also,
this was the fastest vote too. Like everybody just collectively agreed.
And with Owen, it's also like, with Owen, there's other forces, like there's like the mob and like addiction issues and stuff with gambling. With this, Braden's just kind of shitty and could be a better person at any point. So,
all right. So Damien, wait, I'm just kidding. Brock. So what are we saying? Is his name Brock or?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I thought that he was a Brock. It's too hardcore a name. It's like his dad's a wrestler or something like that.
I confused him between like him, Venom Kid as well. Dylan,
Eddie Brock. Yeah, it's tough.
So it's just like Anyway, what do you guys think? I'm gonna say for Brock, I'm gonna say B, because he could be an A. Like he could be an A, but like he's been pretty monotonous. Like for the length of his tenure in the book, even though I think he's a solid character. Like he there's a reason he's there. He adds the family dynamics within his own, like in his own way. So he adds some sort of balance to that. You know, he's pretty funny as well, even though I don't think he's meant to be funny. So I'm gonna give him B, but I think he can easily be an A, and I think he will be an A and maybe even an S, because they've teased they've teased him wanting the Sunstone. So maybe he'll make another move for it. And even if he doesn't, like he'll be involved some way. Like this dude was caught out buying drugs from freaking Finnegan Root. Like, come on, this kid's crazy. So I'll give him a B, and I'll say like he has the potential to go up easily.
I see where you're coming from, and I sort of agree. It's just, other than the part with him and Finnegan Root, I feel like he's just been a whiny little brat most of the time. So I'm gonna go with C for Brock. Maybe he can go a little bit higher in the future, but for now, it's a C in my opinion. Not D, C. Like I actually mean C.
This is a tough one, because I do love to hate him sometimes, but yeah, he does show a lot of heart at times, and he really there's a few moments where you do really feel bad for him. He just kind of seems like he really just wants his dad back at the end of the day, but he's definitely I'll go with the C tier on this one. I'll go with the C tier on this one. I think B, but I just. Yeah, I don't know. I think if we see more of him, I'll settle with a C. I don't know. A little conflicted on this one.
just for posterity's sake, we're recording this after Supermassive 2, Rogue Sun 13 is the latest issue of Rogue Sun. We don't even know who Radiant Black is. The vote is coming in. Big issue 25 is coming up. So, and Dead Lucky's second arc hasn't started, and Radiant Pink finished as well. So this is where we're at, just for people listening in the future. For me, Brock, I love Brock. He's got Damian Wayne upside. Everyone, I love Damian Wayne. He's great. But I'm gonna say B because I don't think he's truly got his chance to shine yet, and I do think he's could do some sneaky shit in the future, or there might be something with Caleb where like he could have the ability to take the body from Caleb, and I think he might give the stone back to Dylan or something like that, or give the ability back to him. I can see something like that happening. Some character growth for him hasn't happened yet, might not happen because Ryan might have just heard him like, oh shit, I got to, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I would say B tier, high potential. Also Ari and A, Brock and B. Hope Dylan doesn't end up in D.
All right, well, chat says B tier, 75%, 6 out of 8 people. So I think Brock goes into B.
Sweet. Okay, the next one.
There was a last second C tier vote, but it's still overwhelmingly B.
Fair enough.
Okay, the next one is this is where I think it's starting to get controversial. It's Caleb Hawthorne. So
yeah, this one's tricky. Yeah,
we've had him a lot in the last 3 or 4 issues. So this is a good time to vote on this character truly because this character's been involved big time in the Rogue Sun story. And speaking of Supermassive, he was the Rogue Sun in Supermassive. I'm gonna give Caleb a B. And I think he has the potential to be an A because I think he's been excellent in the story so far. He's had some big character moments, and I think he's going to be A once we find out more about his origin. He's clearly lying or telling only his truth or his point of view. So there's clearly more to it. And I've really enjoyed the dynamic between him and Dylan. I think he's taking the story in super interesting places. I actually think Caleb is one of the best characters in the Massiverse, genuinely. So I'll give him a B, a high B. I would say A, but maybe 1 or 2 more books. Once I find out a bit more about him, I'll give him an A. But right now, I'm going to say super high B.
All right, I'm going to go with an A tier. I think Caleb's a great character. He's been very involved recently, and hell, he's been one of the main characters in Supermassive 2023. So you love to hate him. He's smart. He's cunning. I'm going to go with A tier for Caleb. It's probably the best Rogue Sun villain so far.
Yeah, no, I'm probably going to go with A as well. Definitely, I think this character easily has potential for an S. Just because, we haven't really seen his true... I think his motivation, he really just wants to do the right thing and save the world. But we don't really know kind of where he's come from his time and why he's exactly trying to take it from Dylan. But I think that will answer a lot more. But yeah, I'm going to go with A on this one. He's just you love to hate him, but he has some good flashes. He's just such a complicated character right now, and I just love that about him.
Yeah, I was struggling between A and B, but just how his character, when you're wondering what he's actually trying to do, when there's there's a motive for it. I mean, I'm sure the motive when we hear the direct. I mean, obviously he's sitting in the background, he thinks he can do it better and stuff like that. But with the story with his dad and how he had to step up and stuff like that, and how it contributes to the father issues that are central to this with the whole parental thing and the mentor aspect of it with Dylan. I mean, it's an A for me. He doesn't pop on screen, but even that. He doesn't pop, but he's always been lingering in the background in the Sunstone since he died. So even that kind of adds, I kind of talk myself into it, but that element, I'm saying A.
Nice.
All right. This one's a little bit
all over
the place. We had, 8 votes, 1 S, 4 A, and 3 B. So I think it's safe to say he's in the A tier.
Nice.
Yeah. I think, Bash, you said B. What would you say, Matt?
A.
You said A as well? Yeah, so A tier.
Cataclysm. Cataclysm, I think it's S tier villain, to be honest, because when you think about a villain in the Massiverse, but also just in general, you kind of think about what makes a good villain, and it's having a compelling reasons. There's some villains they don't really need compelling reasons, but I think Cataclysm is super compelling villain. Just honestly, when you look at her story and how it tied into the whole story, overall, her origin is not only her origin, but it's kind of low key partial origin of Rogue Sun as well, of Dylan Rogue Sun. because when it's her entire the whole issue where she's like explaining shit. It's super formative for Dylan and what he decides to do later on, and how he decides to shape himself as a person. It's also like when you remove yourself from it all, from the third person, her becoming a villain affects Dylan literally, because he also becomes low-key like an orphan, because his dad is dead and his mom is basically like seceded from being a parent. So it's like at that point, because she's trying to kill him, right? It's like fuck that. So it's like when you think about that also shapes Dylan's journey, right? So I think like Cataclysm, just design wise, like really, let's be real, power set like character wise, has been involved in several issues, is connected to almost every single character, like in the beginning of Rogue Sun, in their stories. I don't know, man. And that flashback issue, like I reread it recently, so if you're like on the border between A and S, I guarantee if you read that issue again, where she's going through her like younger times with Marcus and why she hates him and all that, you'll be like, yeah, this is a super good character. Like, what the fuck? Also, you have to understand, like Ryan Parrott's writing so many good characters, and a lot of stuff is like emotional ground, because we're talking about the relationship like between the kid and the parent, or just being like a shit parent or a shit partner and all that. So it's really incredible that he was able to balance both sides well, and give them each like issues where they could shine. So for that, yeah. So long answer, but S for me.
I'm gonna keep it short and one word. This is Omni-Mom, and for that reason and that reason alone, I'm gonna put an S tier. It was also the first a big like twist of Rogue Sun that really hooked me in. So I'm gonna go S tier for Cataclysm.
I love it. I think I'm gonna go down a notch on this one. Love the character, love the premise of this character. Obviously a lot more to see. But I honestly felt like, in a way, like yeah, we saw her attachment to Dylan and how much like they got along, but like we haven't really seen that other side of her, like the post like Omni-Man, like after he realizes, okay, what have I done? Like she doesn't really seem to, like, I don't know, like care about Dylan much anymore, and it might be hard to see because she's infected, so it's like she's taken over by entropy. But yeah, I think like the premise of her is amazing, but I think I like a lot of other characters a little better.
You know what? You changed my mind. I'm gonna go down to A. So we got Bash S, I'm A, and you're A too.
Well, here's the problem as well. Charlie, you're A? You're A tier?
Yeah, I was A.
The character's really cool. The twist with it was like, it hooked us.
The twist was fucking amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Like, this was like when Nathan's dying, we're like, holy shit, this might even top that, or this is in the discussion for that, which was already like a banger. I feel like we need to see more of the mom though. Like, she was there, and we had her own like kind of background issue. I really like that she's in group therapy in issue 13 and stuff like that. Seeing more of her be great. I feel like I need that extra oomph, but she's really great and like A tier for me.
All right, let's see what
we got her a lot in the first few issues, and then there was the mystery, considering Cataclysm like was in issue 1 and they killed like Mark.
And that was so good. I just think we haven't seen like the other half of that. Like, we've seen her like the attachment to Dylan and then her transcend into that, but like we don't see her kind of struggling with that decision anymore, or kind of like it was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go kill Marcus, and Dylan can, I don't know, be on his own or whatever. But I don't know. I think there's
Blaze,
more.
Who has his own series.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing good.
All right, well, chat was overwhelmingly A. Out of 9 votes, 8 of them said A tier. So,
okay,
Cataclysm, safe to say in the A.
Easy potential for S. Easy potential.
Easy.
Oh yeah. She's gonna get there. She'll get there.
Yeah, Circle Guy news.
Oh.
So yeah, we put him as 1 because I think ranking them individually would be like silly. I'd say like B, because I think they add like a fun dynamic to the story. Like you could say C because they're not in it like too much, but they've actually been in it for like 5 or 6 issues. And I think one thing they add to the story is like giving us a media perspective on Radiant Black. And the idea of working with Radiant Black, like for merch, we got that iconic issue where he's wearing the Hawaiian shirts. I don't know. I think those are all like, every issue that the Circle Guy news have been in has been a good issue. It's like a memorable issue. Like, so it's like for that reason as well, I'll give them a solid B. I think it's always fun when you see. There's a bit of bias here, of course. Like I'll admit that. Like I'll admit that much for sure. Like like really like these guys. So yeah, I'll say B. But yeah, I think just moving forward, I'm always looking forward to an issue where like Superguy
Oh.
Nichiro.
Right.
Interesting vote. Interesting vote right now.
Look at Ryan in the chat said you can say it. Bill brings us down. I'm still waiting on Wyatt's first
Hey, man.
appearance too.
Let's just rank Bill first individually. Bill, let's bring him up here. No, I'm just
Hey
kidding.
man, Radiant Bill, it's possible. Just think about it. The Radiant's out there. People are voting for a
Out
Radiant
there.
Black. That means anyone can be Radiant.
Radiant
Black.
Bill. He'll be like Beta Ray
Exactly.
Bill,
Bill,
except
baby, it writes
Radiant.
itself. It writes itself. I'm just saying.
Love that.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'll give him a B tier. I'll give him a B tier as well. They're pretty cool. It's always nice to see him there. Like you said, every issue with them is funny, and yeah, B tier for me.
Yep. Cosign. Just the different element they bring to Radiant Black and the merchandising perspective and stuff. Got us those Radiant Black boxes, so gotta love that. And shout out to them. They're awesome.
Yeah, B. What they bring to the series is cool because they're real life people that exist in the book. Like Kyle's just wrote his friends, people he's interacted with, into the series. So that's a really cool thing and adds to how this book deals with media and different sources of media, like bath bombs, QR codes. This is all baked into it to make the essence of Radiant Black different than anything else. So I'd say B tier because they don't have like a massive role in the Massiverse yet, but behind the scenes and in the book, yeah, there's like a big influence. So I'd say B, and it's really cool. The whole concept is really cool to me as a podcaster. So yeah, we are biased there.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
right.
Listen, anyone
like for the
who has to deal with Marsha like that, they deserve to be, recognized. But the poll is a little interesting. We have 9 votes,
It is.
and 3 people said C tier. I want to know who y'all are who said C tier, and then it's
I'll
44% with B. So I think there's actually one S and one A as well. So yeah, I think safe to say they're in the B tier.
TJ said they'll take a B. There's so that's pretty cool with all these freaking badass characters in the universe. A couple podcasters are B tier on, like ahead of Billy Bloodmoon, a flying werewolf. Like that's kind of fucking sweet.
I'm so curious. Like, there's, I'm sure everyone in here is looking forward to seeing how a character ranks out. I was curious to seeing Cataclysm because I have bias, so I knew they were going to get A, but I still think they're S. Sharon, I'm not going to say what, I guess I should say what I think because it's my turn. I think Sharon's D. I don't think Sharon's a bad character or anything. I think Sharon has a super cool design, but so far the character has been used as a meme. Like in the book, they showed up like 2 or 3 times. Each time they were a meme. Like, it just like, there's potential maybe if we dig into their origin because they look like otherworldly, of course, like most of the Rogue Sun villains. But so far the character has just been like a joke, right? So, but I do think the design is great and everything, and I look forward to more involvement from Sharon. So, yeah, I think D for Sharon for me. I just want to see them do something a little bit more serious than just get like tossed into jail or something.
Yeah, I'd agree. They've been like kind of the punching bag.
Bro, this is Kite Man
Rogue Sun.
before Kite Man was popular. Like, this is
Yeah,
the Kite
pretty
Man
much.
Massiverse. But before they made Kite Man like cool, okay?
Pretty much. I'll go with D tier as well. I will say though, he on the same level as Brayden. I'll stick with D.
Yeah, I think definitely Braden's in there for a different reason. I think Sharon, we just haven't seen enough of the character. Definitely like in that therapy session, to me, kind of the weirdest character, the most normal looking character. So I definitely have a lot of questions about Sharon and stuff. But yeah, I'll go with D on this one. I think.
Honestly, I'll be honest. Like of the characters with us so far, Sharon's like the one that I had to think of the most, and like it's harder for me to like even place right and think of.
That's
like
fair enough.
Sharon has that like the like
I'll be back one-
Filch, like the Harry Potter, like the custodian look, like Argus
Ryan's
Filch.
never gonna come back onto our show after that. Like after that, like Ryan's never coming back.
Bruh.
I'm just kidding.
I've got like a full back Rogue Sun tattoo in the. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So Sharon got stoned, and I can't really. There's not too much there for like. I'm gonna say C. I think it's fair.
All right, and everybody in the chat said C. I'm gonna assume, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'm gonna assume y'all are okay with D tier as well, just because it's not there. But one person picked A, and one person picked B. out of 9 votes. Everybody else went C.
I'll keep him D for now, but if we see someone say otherwise, we'll move him up to C. But I think honestly, all things considered, I think D is fair. I think I see the first S tier coming out pretty soon. So I'm not, or at least the first that I think will actually hit S. Anyway, Eclipse from Cowl. So if you don't actually, if you haven't read Cowl, please go read Cowl. It's really fucking good, and it's part of the Massiverse. It's really good, like surprisingly good. It's kind of like it has Watchmen vibes, and it always surprised me how good it is because I remember how young Kyle was when he wrote that book. It's like it's a very different book than say like Radiant Black, but it does work all together. And yeah, so Eclipse I think is one of my favorite characters from Cal. I think he has the most memorable moments. I love his camaraderie with Radia. I just love the sass that they both have. This dude has like loud mouth. He's hilarious. Like he's always talking shit. You know what I mean? And he has this really cool friendship with Radia. They're always beating people up. They have this. They're a bit sanctimonious, but at the same time, they're actually like some of the more, even though they're all kind of gray area, they're some of the more better people in the story. So I resonated with them more a little bit on that in that sense. Whereas like Grey Raven was just pure bastard throughout most of it. So I think for me he's an A because I'm looking at it from the sense of Cowl alone, not in the greater Massiverse. And I think within the Cowl, he's an easy A character for me. He's one of the most memorable ones easily. And I think he had one of the best storylines like in throughout Cowl. Like he was there for almost all of it, if not all of it, and it was just really good moments overall.
Yeah, if I'm just doing Cowl, he's an SD character because him and Radia were my favorites reading Cowl. But if we're going all Massiverse, which we are, I'm probably going to go with B tier for Eclipse. He's one of the better characters in Cowl. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, if Blaze gets a B, I gotta go either a B or a C, I think. I'll go with a B. Eclipse was, definitely one of the more intriguing characters in Cowl, but yeah, just like you guys said, there's a lot of characters in this universe.
I'm pleading the fifth. Another uninformed voter here. So yeah, I agree with you guys though. I don't think you guys did anything off base.
All right, and chat has spoken. Out of 4 votes, 3 people picked A. So, I feel like it's a tie. Bash, what did you say? Did you say A or B?
I said A.
You said A, okay. So that's 5. That's 4 for A and 3 for B. So
Eclipse over Blaze.
Because Blaze is cool, but he's like
doesn't do that. Like, that is fair.
That is fair. This dude is like he has some crazy moments in the book.
Yeah,
and like he genuinely thought he was gonna die at the end and stuff like that. Oops, spoiler, he doesn't. But spoiler, sorry. Go read the book. It's fucking good though. So Dead Lucky. I mean, I'll keep this short. Horny ass superhero who commands bots and has military experience and actually does a really good job of conveying some of the trauma that you see in like within military experiences, at least in that comic book that I've seen. So easy S for me, just easy. Like, come on, like what's not to love about Dead Lucky? And for the people who are like, having a harder time getting into it, I would say like just keep in mind like all these other series, they started with so much more world building. They had Supermassive where the exposure was real. She didn't. She had to establish her entire corner of the Massiverse in the first 3 issues. So people are like, oh, there's a lot of like dense setup or whatever. It's like, of course, because they didn't have the benefit of like meeting them like Rogue Sun and Virgo Red and Supermassive where we kind of developed some rapport with the characters. So I just want to keep that in mind. I think the Dead Lucky, like I just reread it as well. Man, like the art and coloring in that book is insane. Like it's actually like insane. Like it's I don't think people appreciate it enough. The panel layout, the compositions and everything are so good. I think it has some of the best coloring in the Massiverse. Like behind, in my opinion, personally, I think Ego Monty is the best colorist in the Massiverse, but I think Matthias
behind IGR, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, like right behind Ego, I think. So it's like he's just so good. Like every single issue of Dead Lucky looks like crazy neon goodness. So yeah, I think Dead Lucky S.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her an S too. She's real. She has a delicious restaurant that I would love to eat at if it ever existed in real life. She's a military strategist. She has super cool freaking powers. And she's just a fun character to get to know. She's the biggest thing for me is she's real. She feels like a real person who's been through some real shit, some real trauma. So I'm gonna give her an S.
Yeah. co-sign everything you said. This is gonna be a quick one for me, but yeah, easy S for me. No brainer.
Cool design. The upgrade is like really sweet. Sugar Skull, cool power set. I don't know. BB, their personality. I feel like I don't know. That's not my favorite type of like stuff. Like the military characters, I don't read like Punisher and stuff like that. Not shitting on it, just not my personal taste. But I can't deny she's like a great character and brings a ton to the table. So I'm gonna say A personally.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Love it.
So chat out of 9 votes, one person said B, 2 people said A, and 7 said S.
Love it. We got our first S.
Yep.
Nice. Got all the
Let's go.
got all of them filled in there.
Queen.
Got
right
all the
now.
girls. Got all the
Top
glory.
of the tier mountain. That's awesome. All right, so Demonica. I promise. Oh fuck. I'm not gonna talk spoilers, but the recent issue had some cool Demonica throwbacks. I'll just say, I guess. I don't want to spoil anything. For
I
that
feel like we
reason,
can talk
I would
13.
have put her at a C before like reading the last issue easily. But I'll say, or sorry, a D. But I'll say after last issue, I'll put her at C, and I think she easily has the potential to go to B. She had really cool moments in the last issue. I would put her at B, but we've only really seen her for 3 issues. But in those 3 issues, she was really good. I think her design is somewhere within these tiers. Like she does look really cool, but I think overall, I put her at a C for me.
I think I'll go one higher. I'll put her in a B. I like how she is a villain. I like her powers. I like kind of the implications on her power set that we got in the latest issue. I think there's a lot more to go with her. The only reason I wouldn't put her in A is because I just feel like she's a little one note. You know, I'm hungry all the time. But I guess that's what she is. I really enjoy it, so I'm gonna go with B.
Sometimes I love those one note characters. I'm gonna go with an A on her. I like, in my opinion, I think she's one of the, I wouldn't say like the most deep villains or anything, but she's definitely one of the most prominent villains in the Rogue Sun universe. Like behind, I would say only Cataclysm, Suave, and Hellbent would be the only ones that would probably take the cake over her for me personally. So I'm gonna go with an A on Demonica.
To me, she screams classic B character, and that's not a bad thing. B's are legit.
She does.
But like the design's cool.
I just
keep
love
forgetting
her
her name. Yeah, Vampironica. Is this Vampir? No, it's not. Demonica. See, I did it again.
Yeah.
I do what Ali does with what's with Billy Bloodmoon.
Billy.
Yeah, the way she's utilized, I think, is really good. I like how Ori, we showed, like, she was a villain that you introduced to show that Ori can do some shady stuff, right? How they kind of, like, we're using her. Her utilization is just really great. I like her design, and the power set implications, I think, add to a lot going forward. I like to see a whole family of undead people, Monica or some shit, no. But, no, I would like to see going forward. I think B is a great place to be, no pun intended, and I think she fits quite well.
All right. So out of 9 votes, about half of them, so 5 people said B. We had 2 S's, 1 A, and 1 C. So it's kind of all over the place.
2 S's, love that.
I guess
it's
it's
Demonica hype there.
It's we actually just got one more last second vote for B. So I think it's safe to put her in the B tier, but it's nice to see a lot of different opinions on her. It's cool.
Doorman of the Aviary. I'm gonna keep it all shorter because we still have quite a few characters, but I'll say B because I think he has a really cool design. I think he's been in the same, like, if we're gonna give Demonica a B, I think this dude's a B because he's been in the same amount of issues. I think he adds to the lore. Like, he has a role within the Aviary, right, as like Raven Queen's protector and everything. And he was really cool in the duel. His power set's awesome. He looks incredible. Design reminds me of like the plague masks, you know, like from Dante's Inferno, things like that, or like just, you know, the bubonic plague. Another thing is, every issue where he shows up, it was a really cool moment. It was always like a lore heavy moment where they're like using some sort of like quill or a tome or something to channel like that part of it, you know, because they're doing something cool. So I really enjoy that. And when spoiler alert for the next 10 seconds, when in that issue when he duels Rogue Sun and he loses, like, he doesn't actually die. He's just like, his husk is there and he's just like regenerating. I thought that was so cool. So for that alone, I'll give him a B. I think we're clearly gonna see Dorman again.
I'm a sucker for Plague Doctor masks. So based off the design alone, I would probably give him an S. But putting everything into account, the fact that he's kind of just a bodyguard, a glorified bodyguard for the aviary, I would give him a B. But he's pretty cool. Like design wise, I freaking love his design.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. S tier design, but yeah, just don't know enough about him. But he's loyal to the aviary. But yeah, no, I'd love. I think he's one of the most intriguing characters. Like one I want to know most about. He's got a lot of questions to him, but no.
I'm
I think,
starting to.
just our lack of knowledge.
I'm starting to wonder if he's a real person or if he's like some kind of entity. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That
That's
kind of
true.
makes it more interesting. I like that he reminds me of the ghost bouncing sketch from Kroll Show, which is nice. And like Klaus from John Wick 4 taught us that like a doorman can really stick in your heart for a long time. So I'm gonna say B tier. Cool design. The fight was really cool. Not like the most purposeful character, but like executes everything it needs to. So yeah, B tier.
Yeah, sounds good. The votes out of 8 votes, we had 1 for S, 1 for A, 1 for C, and then 6 Bs. So I feel like this again, this is another one that kind of is all over the place. You're muted,
there, Bash.
Muted.
Sorry, thank you. And you're on Doppler, but we did not put the Doppler from Cowl because that was short-lived. So we put the Cowl. We put the Doppler from the Massiverse because she's been in it a lot more, and she's actually a pretty cool character who has some big moments. Plus, the picture's freaking awesome. So Doppler, I think, is one of the cooler villains in the 5 Indicate or whatever we're calling them now. I think she's definitely one of the cooler ones in terms of her motives. Design, I think Doppler's design is badass, but like let's be more objective about what's happening here. I think the suit itself is badass, but the person wearing it is more like a junkie. So yeah, because she's like, she's addicted, and like that's kind of, because I was rereading the issue, and that's the kind of the vibe you get where she's just like, oh, I just need another charge, and it's just like, that's cool, but it's just there's also like that moment where she pivots because she's like, she gets emotionally convinced by Marshall or someone at that one issue, and then in the next issue where it's the Blaze, she just like changes her mind all of a sudden. She's like, oh no, fuck him, like, let's go kill him. So it's just like, I'm not sure what's going on there. If it wasn't for that pivot, I think I would have given her an A, but I'd say more of a B. And I think her design is A. I think she has all the makings of an A, but that pivot just really made it weird for me. So I'll put her in a B, but I think she could be in an A easily.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with an A. I love her power set. I love her character, like Anya herself. I mean, she is addicted, but it's because she needs it, right? Like she has that medical condition that
like
she needs it to survive. Yeah, it's necessary. Yeah. I'm gonna go with an A for Doppler.
Yeah, I would. I'm gonna go with an A as well. One of my favorite of the rogues. For sure. I think that shift issue really did it for me and made me like that character too. She was in that one shift issue. Like the image, I think it was number two or 3, or was it 4? I don't know. But
I think it was the last one.
It was a fantastic issue. So yeah, I'm gonna go with an A.
Yeah, Sonya, I like, of the rogues, is definitely higher up there for me. I like how, I like Ghost. They had a full Ant-Man and Wasp movie, and I didn't really care much for Ghost, or I felt like, okay, whatever. But like Sonya, I feel like an attachment to, and the elements of her interactions with Guy and stuff like that, and the Shift one shot really kind of put her up and above for me. And plus, she's not evil, and she's working for these guys, and to give up a power when it's like literally healing you have some kind of condition and it heals you, that's quite a bit of depth and stuff like that. So I feel like, of the rogues and the little time we've had with her, A.
All right, and chat voted B. 5 out of 8. Sorry, A. I meant A. 5 out of 8 said A. So Doppler goes into A tier. First Radiant Black villain there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eddie. So I think we're being a little bit generous with some of the grades, because I think we're not like looking at how many issues some of these characters are in, which is important. Eddie's been in like 4 issues out of 6, so that's like more than half the series. But in a lot of them, they're very brief moments because it's just like a little chat. But in some of the two of the 4 issues, they're really big moments because like they're flashing back to their relationship or everything. So I'd say in terms of Dead Lucky, like just for that series, not the Massiverse, he's a really important character. I give him an A. I think if we're giving characters like Ori an A, I think just because it's hard when you look at it from the greater universe, but I also want to credit each series and what they do in each one individually. So I think he's done a lot in Dead Lucky. I think he's definitely one of the first characters that comes to mind when you think of the greater roster of the Dead Lucky. And I think he has some of the biggest moments in the story, some really big important moments, both in the past and in the present. So for me, and he's just a really cool character, honestly. So I'll give him an A.
Eddie, man, I think. Well, I feel like this is probably the first character that we've had a conclusion to his arc, right? So it's gonna be kind of hard to project. I mean, yeah, you never know. You never know. It's comic books. You never know, but I think he had a great arc.
He's like the Uncle Ben moment in some way.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
It's like if Reggie does that, like for Rogue Sun, but Eddie he's more involved with Dead Lucky's life because he has that foundational relationship with her when they were young. He's still friends with Bibiana, and he also makes tech for her. So in a lot of ways, like he's really involved in the story, right?
Well, yeah, Eddie for me is an A.
Yeah,
he's a pretty complete character.
Yeah. No, he was definitely one of my favorites from Dead Lucky. Their dynamics always fun, and just how they're like civil still, even though like they broke up a while ago. Like they kind of know the situations they're in, and just their dynamic working with each other was super cool. So yeah, I'll go with an A for him as well.
Yeah, Owen corrected me. I was wrong about Dopper too.
Oh, Anya, Sonya, Anya, Rania, Sonya.
I was wrong, yeah. On that, yeah.
It's a lot of Anyas.
Yeah, so Eddie, if you're a character in the Massiverse and you have 2 of the same letter and your name ends in IE, don't leave the house that night. Like, stay home. No. Stay home, bro. Eddie adds a lot of, like, Eddie helped flesh out BB a lot in their past, and I like how it was treated. I think Melissa did a great job of having like the civilian trying to do their best to help with the person with more experience, and they contributed. Eddie contributed how he could, and it was a lot. He gave everything, and I think seeing him in the future, I think that BB's power set allows for him to be seen in the future and stuff like that. So as we talk about a conclusive end, I feel like there could be more that add to this. But yeah, Eddie stands out to me in what the character does. I'd have to give him an A. If I gave Ari an A, not just that, but yeah, I feel like he was really, of the Dead Lucky crew, he was definitely one of the more fleshed out ones and really well executed.
All right, that's pretty fair, and looks like Chad agrees too. Out of 7 votes, 5 of them were A, so
right on.
And 1 B and 1 C.
Right on. So Existence is the next character. So it's cool, kind of like Gotham City, although not as prominent yet, but still very prominent. Existence has been a really important part of the Massiverse, particularly Radiant Black, and we're only kind of just delving into that connection, really, because spoiler alert, as we've seen for other Radiants and Radiant Red and Radiant Pink, and these series have been out for a while, but if you haven't read them, go read them. This isn't really a big spoiler. But each Radiant so far has their own robot that we've seen, including Radiant Yellow, actually. We've seen him with a robot. I don't know if we've seen him with his own robot yet, but we've seen him with a robot in the future timeline in 18. But we've seen the others with their own robots, colored like them and shit like that. So it seems like Existence is a bigger character than we all thought. Also, like when you look at the in terms of like what Existence has done within the series, how it's been a very foundational part of 2, not multiple issues actually, because they go there quite a bit, even if they're not actually there for the span of the entire issue, right? There's the whole syncing thing. There's like those mental visions when they're between 2 characters. So when you think about Existence, I think Existence is actually a really cool part of Radiant Black. It's like kind of like a hub thing. And then we've seen in Rogue Sun now, they have kind of two of their own variations of kind of a Existence. We have like the aviary, and then we have that like area where they got teleported to in the most recent issue, kind of like living within the Sunstone, I guess you can say. So like the concept itself is really cool. In that sense, what would you guys rate Existence as a character? I think for me, I think it teeters the borderline between A and S, right? I could say S because I think it brings so much to both, like to the story. So I'll say Existence is S for me because I think we can all agree that every single issue that's involved in Existence has been some of, like, at least for the most, like in a big part, has been some of the best issues in the Radiant Black series so far. And we always get hype when we go to Existence. The shit always gets crazy. And those are the issues where we get to see Ego really pop off and just like go crazy with the colors. So, and there's always truth in Existence. So I'll give Existence S, just being just a brilliant concept for that, in that sense.
I would give it an A. I agree with almost everything you said, but I would go with an A just because, yes, we've only been there. I mean, every time we've been there, it's been super cool, but we've only been there twice. And I would be, what would put it into an S for me is if we see the other Radiants, Pink, Yellow, Red, go into existence and how maybe they find their own truths. I think that's what we're going to push it to an S for me. So for me, it's an A right now.
Like, I just want the one shot where we get like Nathan's adventure in Existence, and it's just all like those months he was in Existence, just chilling, like learning the language, just doing his own. Like that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, like, there's been a lot of implications, I guess we could say, even sometimes between the lines or between the panels.
Yeah, I'll keep this short and sweet. I think I'll just go A. Yeah, I'll go with an A. I just think lack of knowledge. The hype's always there. Like it's always amazing to go to Existence and experience all the amazing colors and whatever else we see there. But yeah, no, I think just we need to learn a lot more about it. So I'll stick with an A.
Yeah, it's a location, and it's one of my favorite locations in comics that covers a lot of vistas. It's really amazing. When you go there, you know shit's going down. I think it is one of those things that differentiates Radiant Black from a lot of things. Like, it's wild. It's A tier for me. S tier, it wouldn't get there because of the damage it's done to Costa's wrist. You know, it's hurt Marcelo, so therefore I'm a little pissed at it. But like, no, it's amazing. The color work, like, it's amazing. It's just really good. And I know animators would have a hell of a time trying to recreate that, even if it's just for, like, a small clip. So, A tier.
All right, and chat said out of 9 votes, we have 4 for S, 4 for A, and 1 for C. So, and I think me and Charlie both went A.
Yeah.
A?
Yeah.
Okay, Finnegan, Root. I'll put Finnegan and Root in B or C. I don't know. I think I'll go with what the rest go for this one. I'll say either B or C. Just, I think he has a B design, but like he hasn't really been involved in the story much. But when he's in the story, he's really funny and he's really cool. Like, so like there's really fun moments when he's in the story. But I think it's 3 issues that he's been in story, and out of 13.
Yeah.
And one of them was like a flashback or something, right? So
Yeah, he was in there for like 1 panel.
Yeah, so I'll give him a C then. If I do think he has like a B/A design. Like, he looks awesome. I like the Reggie Roadkill name you guys gave him. Like, I think that's brilliant. But I just don't think he's a B yet. But he could be. So yeah, I'll say C.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this short too. He's a C for me. He's got a cool design, but he hasn't had that much impact on the story. We haven't gotten to know him that much. So Reggie Roadkill goes to the C tier for me.
Yeah, he's definitely on that. He's on that Billy Blood Moon level for me, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think I'll throw him in C as well. If we ever get to see that wedding, eventually, easy go up. But yeah, right now I'll stick with the C.
Yeah, listen, I gotta go with B because we blasphemous to do anything lower. The design is really great to me. He needs to do more, but we know that he's got upcoming nuptials for us to celebrate. In which case, the wedding issue, the first massive verse, which has to happen. Yeah, B tier. I think there's a ceiling for this character. That's personally what I love in characters. It's got like the Swamp Thing design.
Like the Shrek of the Massiverse, right?
Yeah, he's like a shady Hagrid that kind of chills and like hangs out with the kids and kind of like gives them magic spells that he shouldn't be because he was banned from doing magic for the Chamber of Secrets nonsense, being friends with wizard you know who. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I like the character a lot. Finnegan Root, I like the name. I like what it implies. Any character that applies like roadkill to make themselves a body, like Frankenstein style, but even more kind of grotesque, or with more like dangly bits, it's cool.
And chat agrees. C tier it is.
Love it.
At least we all agree his design is like peak. At
Oh,
least
for sure. Oh, yeah, most of the designs are peak. I'd say the only design I can't say is peak for me yet, without meaning, is Sharon. He's the only guy where I'm like, oh, what's this guy about? But I don't know. We'll see. One day.
Sharon's a meme, man. Every universe needs a condiment king kind of character. We got Sharon, baby.
Of course.
Rogue Sun trivia. This is here by accident, but next week we're doing Rogue Sun trivia. I guess let's put it up here so everyone can see. It's gonna be so much fun. We came up with. They're not gonna be nowhere near as hard as the questions we did for Radiant Black. There's still some challenging ones. We're giving away some prizes, including ratio incentive covers. Rogue Sun 1 or 2, maybe we'll see, and then a Rogue Sun poster, like the poster signed by Ryan Parent. Actually, everything we're giving away for the trivia next week is signed by Ryan Parent. So there you go. If you like Rogue Sun, go be there. It's gonna be so much fun. Same time at 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday next week. So just 1 week from today, same time. Grey Raven. I think Grey Raven's one of the best characters of Cowl. Grey Raven was in the Radiant Black versus Blaze teaser, which is a big part of Cowl. I wouldn't give Grey Raven an S because he's an asshole. Like maybe he does deserve an S, but I thought he was a bit monotonous. Like for the most part, he has his like code, right? And that's all he really does. Like fuck everyone else. Really, he has his agenda, and he's just doing what he wants. So in that sense, I found him a bit monotonous, but I do think he's a great character. He looks cool. I like the history that he brings to the Cowl. It gives it a sense like that it's dated, kind of like a legacy universe, similar to how like Rogue Sun kind of was when it first came out. So I'll say A for me. But his design isn't quite A in my opinion. So between A and B, like I could go either way, really. So
see, that's why I would put him in the B. I thought his design was alright. It was cool, but it wasn't like anything.
The fact that this is an issue you can't get, like you can only get that issue and it's not reprinted in the trades, I'll say that makes it an A for me. And the fact that this is my personal bias, that's Elsa Shazier's first like professional like published comic book work, that also makes it give him slight A for me. He looks pretty cool. Like okay, let me say this. For what they're trying to achieve in the Cowl universe, which is they're in with specific time frame and context, I think he actually looks good for that period. But like for the comparing him to the rest of the Massiverse, where we get like all these high tech baddies and you know cosmic superpowered people, yeah, it like kind of lacks in comparison.
Yeah, I'll stick with the B tier for Grave in my opinion. What about you, Charlie?
I think for me, for Cowl, he's definitely up there for me. I think that one shot, it was a one shot, right? Or was it like an issue 6? Like what of the Grey Raven?
But it's a one shot. Like it's
it was kind of both. But yeah, no, that issue definitely put him up for me. So I'll go B. I'll go B, top B.
Yeah, and I abstain again. I'll wait for the Griffin from Robo Red.
All right. Well, chat has said it's A tier, unanimous. All right. Grey Raven goes into A tier.
Like,
I think that's fair. That's fair. Oh yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah, he's just an asshole, but he's a really good asshole. So, you know, Griffin. Oh man, Griffin. I think. I you know why I wouldn't give Griffin an S, even if we're looking at just IGR, because he's tropey. Like he talks tropey, like very tropey. But I think he's a great villain. I think he works really well. I think he has one of the best designs for the villains in the Massiverse. He looks badass. Like you could, you know, if you're a fan of pop culture, especially Japanese pop culture, like a lot of things like Matt Coombs brought up during our interview, because you know that's what he was looking at during the time, things like that. Like I guarantee you'll recognize this sort of aesthetic and you'll find it appealing. So for me, that was kind of the case as well. So I'll give him an A. It's again an A or a B, but his design is so good and the artwork is incredible that I'll give him an A. The book was really fun. His action's super badass. His powers are badass. The only reason he's not an S for me is because we don't know too much about him yet. It was a bit imbalanced in terms of how often we saw the Doctor as opposed to Griffin himself, and then he was a bit tropey in how he spoke. Like, this is inevitable, you know. So it's just like that makes it an A and not an S for me.
I'll go with an A tier. I think his design is amazing. His powers are pretty cool. And kind of like you said, he is very tropey, but he served his purpose, right? Like he had a purpose in the story, and he achieved it quite well. So He's an A tier for me.
His design and his power set for me, A alone, and just his presence in that book, and kind of like, yeah, some of those battles in IGR were just incredible to look at with Igor coloring all those powers. So yeah, I'll go with an A.
He kind of reminds me of like Suave and like the place he plays in the story, where he's not necessarily like the main big baddie, but he's kind of like spoken to through like entropy and stuff like that. I like the design. I really like the ties to Kostya and how his kid is in the school as well. I think that adds a lot of like depth in just the 6 issues where we have to introduce Apex and Kostya. It's a lot. But for me, Griffin, I like the design, like the name, like the character behind the mask. I like, even his relatives add kind of more depth, and it's cool. So I'm gonna go with A.
All right, I like what you said though, comparing him to Suave. I see that now.
Yeah,
A little bit, yeah, but they're obviously crazy different in their own way.
Yeah. Just the purpose, the narrative purpose they play.
Yeah.
So for the Griffin, out of 6 votes, we had 4 say B tier and 2 say A. So it seems like it's almost like a tie right now.
I'm gonna put him in A because all 4 of us said A, and I think that right. We all said A, right?
Yeah, that's
I
a fair
did too.
decision.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that puts the vote a little bit in our favor, but it could go either way. But I'll just say A for now. Okay. So I'm just gonna keep this one really short. I think Hellbent is an excellent villain, but I think if we're gonna keep Cataclysm in A, I think Hellbent's A because they've had the same number of appearances, but Hellbent's like it's the same thing. Like we've only really seen the evil side, the civilian side, like the whole like my father thing. Like they give you flashes of him kind of being a junkie, but it's like that's not really enough. So I kind of want to see what the kid's more about. I feel like I know more about his dad, like ironically, as in this when we're talking just the people themselves, not the hellbent of it all. So I'll say A for me. But he has an S design, like no doubt. Like let's be real, Ezreal fan here. Like this is an S design, right? So
I will disagree with you a little bit. I think he's a lot more fleshed out than Cataclysm to me. Because Cataclysm, we kind of just saw how she got her powers, but for Hellbent, I felt like he had a lot of motivation and a personal reason to hate Dylan. So if anything, I compare him to like Green Goblin.
but like that was all true. But once his dad's like, okay, I'm good, let's get the fuck out of here. He's just like, nope. So it's like that's what.
Yeah, well, he's a maniac too. I see what you're saying.
I know, but
it's
like that's the choice. It's like that's why I'm like, there's also like this like junkie aspect because he's like recruiting druggies to go sell in places, and he seems to have experience, and it's just like I don't think that's fleshed out enough personally. That's what I'm saying. So
that's fair. I'd still put him in S tier. I think he's my favorite Rogue Sun villain.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's mine too. I would say easily my favorite Rogue Sun villain right now. I think Cataclysm. Once we learn more and kind of that other side I was talking about earlier, and her struggling with that choice she made, kind of will put her above that. But I think just the motivations he has, and it really felt like the first time like Dylan had his own like arch nemesis. Like obviously it is Cataclysm, but like. I think that like the motivations for hating Dylan like personally is like is a little different, and the design alone is like S+ for me. So I'll put him in S. I think.
I really like how he's a mirror to Dylan. Of like Dylan gets the Sunstone with something that we know is good. He's got Morningstar, and his dad tried to keep him out of this life, and he falls to this life, makes it even more tragic going through it. Like. It was just really well implemented and done, and he left stakes, right? Like he gave us an Uncle Ben moment in killing Reggie, right? So by doing that, I don't know, whatever. We're ranking the Massiverse. You're gonna get maybe some spoilery stuff, but I think that's great, and it really works as a great mirror. He's kind of like the Eddie Brock kind of deal, where it's like this is like the evil version. Not quite an S for me yet, but I'm gonna say it's a strong A.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm with Mountain though. I think that's like the non-biased like. Assessment there. Like everyone giving an S is a bit biased.
Definitely going to be biases and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Chad agrees too. Out of 7 vote, we just got a last second one. It's still we got 5. No, A. We got 4 votes for A and 3 votes for S. So,
but he definitely looks S, right? Like let's be real. He looks like
Yeah, yeah. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's all
the
opinions.
whole
Everybody's
like
got different opinions.
antithesis thing is cool for sure.
And going
Very-
forward, like we do this next year, easily as potential.
Probably will be up here because he's gonna be the guy. Yeah, like comes back and probably like evolves over time. And like when I think of that group we saw in issue 13, I think this dude's probably gonna be the guy leading it. Like he's probably gonna be the guy who's gonna try to be leading it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hellfather. I mean, okay, I'll say B because I think he has a very, very big part. Like, it could be B or C, but his design is cool and he's very fundamental to the development of Hellbent. So I think for that reason, I'll put him in B. They're both in the same amount of issues. They're interacting with each other in a lot of those issues, and then their motivations are linked to each other. And I think like I'll give Hellfather a B on the optimistic side that he'll come back just because he just got a costume. So there you go.
Yeah, he's only had one appearance. His design is amazing. Like you said, he's very connected to
One
Hellbent.
appearance is the villain, but we're counting the dad too, because like he's the guy under it. So
Yeah. And for that reason, I'll give him a B. He's got his own motivations. He's got like pure reason why to try to keep the sun out of it.
Dude, it
He's
could
a
be
B
like
for
a
me.
fire and ice thing. Like is there blue in it? Right? They could go like as a duo. I'm just saying, like it could be cool, man.
Yeah. I think for me, he is cool, really cool design. Love the name Hellfather. Still don't know if that's superficial or not, but love it. And I think he's probably just a tier below Hellbent for me. So I'll go with B.
Yeah, if he's Hellfather, then Hellbent is Hellboy technically as well, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I really like the design and what he does. Like, he reminds me of Matt Murdock's dad in the Ben Affleck movie. I haven't read a ton of Daredevil comics, but like the shame that he feels for his son of like, I didn't want you to see me like this and stuff like that and know what I've been doing.
Yeah.
The design and everything. It's like he doesn't get a ton of stuff to do, but everything he does, it really hits and it works well. So B tier character all around, just works.
And Chad agrees. B it is. It's almost unanimous. We just had one last second A tier roll, so goes in the B tier.
Hey, chat, I'm curious if you guys want to see more Hellfather. Like, put that in the chat. Is that a character you guys want to see more of? Like, were you guys hyped when you saw that like design in his own kind of suit? Because I was hyped personally. Like, it's not like the most unique thing ever, but it does look badass, and I think it adds. It kind of reminds me of the Mahler twins. Do you know what I mean? But like kind of with these guys, but they're not twins. They're more like a father-son, so they can have a different dynamic. But it's cool to have like that family dynamic of these two kids, or these two people doing weird shit together, but like reluctantly so.
Yeah, and you can see him later, like reluctantly teaching his son more stuff about the game. Going in the future about like committing crimes and how to get away with it and stuff like that. You can kind of see him reluctantly trying to teach him.
Oh, Owen's right. I think he is dead. He might be dead, but look, it's Rogue's son, so they can probably bring him back.
You never know who can come back. Yeah, you never
They can
know.
probably bring him back. Honestly, with Morningstar's power, like you never know.
Marcus has been dead since the first issue, and he's been, you know what I mean, like with demons and magic and stuff like that. If there's story purpose, I'm okay with characters coming back within reason.
I mean, Demonica was dead for a while. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, Fabian.
Caleb
Fabian said it looked too
Caleb
close.
killed her, right? Caleb chopped her head right off, like when he was Rogue's son. Came back.
There you go. Okay,
Always
so
Fabian said he looked too close to Radiant Res design, which I kind of see, like when she bulks up. Yeah.
no,
I
that's
get that
definitely
too.
that's fair. That's fair. That's
It
definitely,
definitely is reminiscent of that. It reminds me of the Real Mummies cartoon as well. Like I like the Mummy aesthetic when it's all like amped up with power. Like yeah.
Yeah.
so Jimmy,
Alrighty.
our first like big dead lucky villain, if I'm not mistaken. Like I think he was the first like big dead. Like we had people like Kane, but like this was like the boss. And we haven't really seen him do much beyond like executive things like managing like grunts, troops, or like corporate things like that. So for that reason, I'll say like C. I just like I think he's cool in terms of what he can do, and I like his whole technocracy kind of thing. But like I don't really like how he looks. He just looks like a basic person. Like there's
Reminds me
nothing.
of Guy too much. I think of Shift every time I look at his character.
Exactly. I
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
agree. Yeah, from a distance, like especially with the hair and the chin, he does look like Shift. And then it's like maybe he'll transform. Maybe he's some sort of android dude that'll like turn into some Terminator. Like that's the vibes I get from him. That he has some augmentations. So maybe there's something like Deus Ex style there. But so far, like he kind of just seems kind of boring because all he does is really like rule from the shadows, like pull the strings. So I'll give him a C. He like his motivations teeter more towards B because I know there's a greater like narrative there, but I want to wait to see it unfold before I rank him up any higher.
I'll give him a C tier too. It's just that so far, like he's been kind of like on the outskirts, reaching in. He hasn't been directly involved in anything. I feel like in the next arc of Deadlock, he'll have a much bigger role. We'll see him a lot more often. But for now, I'm gonna put him in the C tier.
Yeah, he's a little annoying. Kind of gets under my skin. Whenever I read his dialogue, he's just kind of one of those characters. But he's cool. Got some cool tech going there. So, but yeah, I think I definitely agree with you though. We're gonna see more next volume. And for right now, I'll put him in. I'll put him in B. I don't think he's quite on that Billy Blood Moon level, but I think he's probably one above that.
C plus.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna go C. Bash talking about like tech, like the tech, like Terminator kind of stuff with his character was the most interested I've been in the character, and it hasn't happened yet. If something along those lines, or we had more, I feel like there's a lot you had to do in world building you had to accomplish in the first 6 issues of Dead Lucky that he didn't get a ton of time and didn't really stand out a ton to me. So yeah, if you're asking me massive first characters, that's C tier for me.
Fair.
All right, and chat pretty much agrees. Almost everybody picked C tier. That's where Moss goes.
Our latest controversial pick, JJ. So
Oh man.
I think her name is like Justine or some shit, but I just know her as JJ. So JJ is the girl that was dating Nathan. I guess she was one of Nathan's exes, and then they started kind of like seeing each other again. And then she started seeing Brayden. Then she invited Nathan to her place while she was seeing Brayden, and then she like didn't tell him that Brayden was trying to like sell him in on this whole thing, like while she was saying. So it's like this whole sketchiness going on. Obviously, if you're caught up on Radiant Black, you know this. But I want to give everyone a quick refresher in case you're like, who? So that's JJ. Personally, I really hate this character. But again, it's like Brayden. I didn't hate her at first. I thought she was like an okay character up until that fake out with Brayden, where Nathan was like, "Oh, you knew this whole time and you didn't tell me," and she was just like, "Oh, but like it's not what you think." And I'm just like, "Nah, like you suck as a person." So since that issue, I put her somewhere between a C or a D. Yeah, D probably. It just like, I guess the C is the sentimental part of me that's like she was something to Nathan, but you know what? She hurt Nathan, man. She dragged Nathan down. She was one of the anchors.
She manipulated him when he went to LA. Listen,
Like, bro,
I don't mean to cut you off, but
it didn't turn into her just telling him like she's inadequate or something. Like, anyway, fucking D for me, bro.
they're put her in D with Brandon. They're together. They might as well be together on the tier list too. I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, she can join Brayden down there. I think. Yeah, she joined him in the book. She can join him down on that D list. Yeah, not too much empathy for her. I'll say that.
All that time in Hollywood, and they just end up on the D list. What a goddamn shame. But no, I dropped down. Anyways, where I stand on JJ is interesting. I think that like obviously this is the character like wow, what a great person. But what she brings to the story and for Nathan like to almost have basically like I get the opinion that it's like that's the love of his life. Like that's the most significant relationship of his life, and that's the one you always think about like during a breakup or when they're apart. It's always on the back burner of his mind. I kind of like that. Her interaction in that LA issue really like shed a lot of light on her character, like coming out, you know, with the shirt on and whatever, and just like acting like it was totally cool that like we're exes, but we can like sell people's ideas and shit. Ryan, right on. They belong. I feel like they have that connection, right? Because if it was just a thing that you could throw away, bad breakup, whatever, but it's something special. There's that secret, special sauce in it, right? So like, I don't know. I'm talking too much, but B for me. I think that she's complex.
B
Wow.
complex.
That's a hot.
Christ.
What does she bring to the
The-
show? We get, she's there with Brayden. She enables him. She's there with
I'm just
Nathan.
fucking with you. I actually like your reasoning. No,
I do.
I like his reasoning. But
I'm
what
happy.
did the chat vote for real though? Before
They did not agree. Everybody said D tier, man. Unanimous.
Fair
I'm
enough.
sorry.
I'll give
I
him
get
that
it.
some credit. Like he actually had like a good like answer. Like if I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
grading him, I'd give him an A, even though he's going against the grain. You know what I'm saying?
This isn't like, oh, redhead. I like. No, it's like there's actually a lot to the character and the way it's
Sure.
done and what she brings to the story, and just I think it's cool.
So yeah. Anyway, I have something.
I can't
about
wait
it,
to rank Brenda. Marshall's the Brenda for Marshall that was mentioned before. I assume it's the same JJ status. That I can't wait for.
I'm waiting for that. Yeah, me too.
Date Marshall. Who knows? We're ready for that.
So Kevin McAllister is the next one. Kevin is Radiant Pink / Eva's cat, and he even has his own Twitch cam. I shit you not. Like if you read Radiant Pink, he has his own Twitch cam on stream, which is fantastic. So Kevin McAllister. Yeah, Ryan, we agree, man. We agree. I think everyone agrees. Yeah,
It's unanimous.
I think
It's
Matt
unanimous.
wanted to
This morning.
speak his truth, because we were talking about existence and truth and everything earlier. Anyway, but yeah, I think Kevin McAllister. If we're like obviously we're just joking. If we put him here for shits and giggles, I'll put him in an S just because he's such a funny character. Like this is all just jokes. Like nobody's actually taking this character seriously, but it's always such a joy when you see like Kevin on the page. Everybody for the most part likes cats, and people who don't like cats, they have good reasons not to like cats. Sometimes they can be little shits. And I'm a cat guy and a dog guy. So I love animals in general, so I'll give Kevin an S.
Listen, I've got 3 cats, and they can be little pieces of shit, but Kevin McAllister is part of Eva's canon event, and that's how she got her mic broken, which led her to getting her powers in the first place. And for that reason alone, he's going into S tier for me.
It's like the rat from Endgame, basically. Like
Yeah, no, that's fair. A lot of fair points, I think. Yeah, just kind of jokes character. I think this was the first page I talked to you guys about this book on the show. So I'll go sentimental. We'll go S.
yeah, S.
Easy.
There you go.
No
There you go.
brainer.
What's chat saying?
Chat is 60% at A. There's 1 S tier vote and 1 C tier vote, and then 3 A's.
That'll
Okay.
flip when we get the worst.
Put an A for
Dogs
the
versus
balance.
cats.
Put an A for
All
the
right.
balance. All right.
All
This
right,
one
all right.
is hard to see, and this one is like we wanted to include like if you showed up in the Radiant Black or comic book 3 appearances, we put you if you were like an important character. But like for a character like, for example, I forget her name, but the woman that works with Marshall at the video store, like I don't think she's really important. So like we're not gonna put her just to be like, oh, this character's funny, like see whatever, like not very.
She's
important.
had like 4 text bubbles. Like, is there much to really talk about? She's cool, but like,
But Kieran's having a whole like he's had this weird little like side arc, almost like a side quest arc, but that kind of ties into the main arc of Radiant Black also, because he's hunting down Guy, and we see in that issue that he's working for the USPIS or ISPS, whatever, I always forget it, but there was an I in there somewhere, so it wasn't just like USPS. And so like postal service, and we all made jokes about it when we reviewed it that episode. And if you read, you know what we're talking about. I'll give Kieran like a C because he looks like a dork, and even though he has like very much like guy in the suit or like man, smoking man, like X-Files kind of vibes, like I'm sure he's got like some shady things going on and everything. We just really haven't seen much for him, but he does intrigue me. So I would say that the plot intrigue puts it more to B, but the fact that he has no real cool design puts him at a C. So I'll say C.
Yeah, I'll give him a C too. I feel like he has a bigger role to play in the upcoming issues, but for now, there's not much about him. He's just, the guy in the suit representing the feds. So he's a C tier for me.
Yeah, I'm not really I'm interested in like where the character's from, but not really too high on the character yet. So I'll go with C.
I think Kieran's really interesting. There's like a mystique to Kieran, and like the time that we saw him. There's something about the character that makes me want to learn more, even though we haven't had a ton, which makes it so I can't really put this character in C yet, just because we haven't had anything. I want to see more, so I'm gonna put it in B.
What's chat saying?
All right, and chat actually says A tier. Oh, there's a couple of votes coming. We got 5 votes. 2 said A, 2 said C, and 1 said B.
I
I'd
feel
say
like
maybe put him in the A tier, like low B tier, high C
Yeah.
tier. Feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of
I feel
where
like
we're at right now.
I feel like yeah, he's in between B C, but I'll just put him in. I'll just put him in C because there's less, but we'll say high C. So Kitty, Kitty was one of the few things that kept Radiant Pink like really interesting for me. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't too interested in Radiant Pink. It's not that it was bad or anything like that. It just wasn't written for someone like me. Like I wasn't really into the whole romance thing. Like I thought there was we were gonna like. I guess sometimes my expectations get the better of me, and that's okay. That happens in comics a lot, especially when you read the solicits and you think they're one thing, or you just like you speculate or whatever. I was speculating that the miniseries would dive more into her origins or something like that, but we didn't really get that. We just got some sort of like Bill and Ted adventure. That was fun. I didn't really love it, but I really loved Kitty. So for that reason, I'll say Kitty's a B for me. I really enjoyed every time they were in the issue, and like I said earlier, I like cats, so B for me.
Yeah, it was a good comedic relief character. I love cats. It was always good when Princess or Prince Kitty was in there. So I think for me, I'll just go B tier because it was kind of just like a comedic relief character with a good twist at the end.
Yeah, I'll go with you guys on that one. I definitely agree with Bash though. One of my favorite parts of Radiant Pink. So yeah, gotta love the kitty, and glad he's on the list.
Yeah, Kitty was a highlight of Radiant Pink for me, definitely. I like the idea of this character existing, and even if it's a joke, like coming back and fighting in the Catalyst War, I wouldn't hate if we just saw like one cat ship just blew up one Radiant ship or whatever. I think that, or a Catalyst ship. Fair enough. Nothing more about the gag. I get that point from Riley. For me, Kitty's cool and Cat with tusks. Yeah. I'd like to see Kitty travel like Battle Beast and just like kill stuff and stuff like that. That's just fan canon. For me, Kitty's A tier.
All right, and chat said C tier.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Fair
half
enough.
the votes went to C. There was one
no,
S
that's
and 2
fair.
Bs. Yeah.
We'll get more dog and gerbil lovers on the panel at some point. For the
I respect it. No, C tier.
It is kind of. I can totally see that read and stuff like that.
So
we got it.
Inferno Girl Red.
Nice.
Inferno Girl Red. This one's so hard. Like, what would I vote? Inferno Girl Red. S.
I mean, S. Come on, that was one of my favorite books I've read this year. I bought the hardcover the moment it went online on the Black Market Narrative store. Like, that book was amazing. Inferno Girl Red is a great character. I can't wait to see where her story goes, but she's still an S tier for me.
Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, I'll join you guys easy. I think besides maybe BB, but I'd say she's probably my favorite character on this list so far. So yeah, that book was my favorite book of this year so far. Probably like the whole hardcover itself, just incredible. So yeah, I'll go S.
Yeah, BB and CC in S tier. It's interesting. Costa. I love Cassia. The way her spirit and her energy and all that, everything about, how she's her relationship with her mom, the design of Inferno Girl Red, like her version of IGR is really sweet, and just her embodying like belief and stuff like that, even, and just little things about her character that we get, like how she likes to just read physical library books for like the tactile feel of it, like just stuff like that sticks out in just basically 6 issues of her. So yeah, 3 like big size issues. So yeah, S tier.
It's an image for the Rogue Sun trivia next week. I posted it by accident. It was in the file, but I guess it also works as a reminder. So I'm gonna put her here right now. I'm assuming the chat voted the same, just because
Unanimously S tier, bro. Unanimously.
There you go. Yeah, I feel like everybody loved Inferno Girl Red, rightfully so.
All right.
So Maddie, you read Radiant Pink. Every character so far has had a friend and except for Radiant Yellow, who seems to be a loner. Like he had a family, but now he's on his own. Poor guy. So Maddie is Eva's friend, and I like their dynamic. I like Maddie. I think she adds some levity to the story. I think she's a good she adds like a functional aspect to the story in the sense that she covers for Eva when Eva's out doing Eva things or Radiant Pink things. So I like Maddie. I think she's cool. She's charming. There's been jokes about a certain ship, which I won't spoil, but if you haven't read Radiant Pink #5, you can find out. And for that reason, I'll give Maddie a B. I think she had some levity. She's a fun character, and yeah, like Eva needs friends.
Yeah, she's a B for me as well. She's like kind of Eva's guy in the chair. She does her role well. There's not much more to it, in my opinion. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Riley's point here, like that she is kind of just that generic supportive friend kind of thing, but she's cool, has great intentions, but I can't put her above Kitty for my Radiant Pink ranking, so I'll put her C.
Yeah, Harriet's legit. If we're talking, I forgot about Harriet till I mentioned that. But yeah, Maddie is, we've seen the person in the chair character. She's not my favorite version of it and stuff like that. Like, it would be, we need a bit more. Like, there's that quote unquote, I don't even know if it's a date or like a meeting between Marshall and her that's been hinted at happening. That's going to be interesting. And that could, if she puts Marshall in her place, so they're both have like a good interaction, that could bump her up for me. But like, it's probably C tier for me. If I'm being shooting from the hip.
Oh, that's fair. You'd be honest. It's always like honesty here. Hey Tyler, good to see you, bud. Tyler is like the most up-to-date, informed person on No One, I think, in the world. Like if you see Tyler's theories on No One, dude picks up some crazy details. Like props, man.
Love that.
Nice to see you. Yeah. So we said like B/C.
Yeah, and chat was pretty unanimously B. It's 83% B. 5 out of 6 people said B. So
Okay. Well, I'll put her in B. I do agree with Riley, though. I think she's just a generic supportive friend, but hopefully we'll get more from her. I feel like just comparing it to something like Invincible, I feel like it started that way like a lot as well, where we had some generic characters that over time kind of developed slowly. Yeah. So hopefully that. So going into another dead lucky character here, we've got Officer Maria Garcia. So I really like Maria. She's a cool character. She's badass. I just love her. I think she looks cool. She's like a very sexy aesthetic. I like that she has this whole like will they won't they thing until they did with BB. Of course BB, like BB. Anyway, so I really like that about her character. I like that she has strong morals, and when we look at a book like Dead Lucky, where a lot of the themes are about things like that, about like who are you siding with, or like things like whistleblowers, or like security being like up the ass and people not being able to have freedom of speech or no privacy or things like that, it's refreshing to see someone pushing back against that. And you can say like, oh, that's common in this kind of story for sure, but I still think Maria's a cool character. My only like concern with Maria is that she was a plot device. I'm not saying that what she is. I'm saying I hope she doesn't get discarded, because like, so far she has been kind of just used, and it's like if they don't use her moving forward, it kind of just seems like they kind of just needed her to infiltrate like Morrow. So I'd say I put her at a B, because she was a good character, and in Dead Lucky she was involved in a very significant chunk of the story.
I'm gonna go. I agree with everything you said. I'm just gonna go a step higher, because I'm gonna assume, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna have a much bigger role in the next arc. But like you said, she's got strong morals. She's not afraid to stand up to the institution. I love the dynamic between her and BB, so I'm gonna go A tier for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you on that one. She's definitely a step up for Maddie for me, I think. But she's just just her design alone, that afro is just so sweet. So yeah, I'll throw her up an A.
Design feels like a bit of a throwback for me. Like, she's kind of like always around like women that are like not either like, I don't know about using her, but like with the other cop that she was with and stuff like that, she's always kind of pressured and always in like kind of like a bad spot, and that's a tough place to be in. So like, I have a lot of sympathy for her character and stuff like that, and I think she's cool, and it'd be interesting to see more of her going forward. So I'll say B.
So two A's, 2B from us. What's chat?
And it's a tie in the chat too, man. 3 A's, 3 B's. It's a tie all around.
Okay, we'll say B for now, but she can like, she'll just be in between. She could be either or, really, because she is that good of a character. But I do agree with Riley's point that she is like more, like she should be higher than, or not higher, but like she's better than Maddie in some senses, like a better character, more fleshed out. But I still think it could be either or. So yeah, we'll just leave her at B for now. Mecha. So Mecha, in this case, we're also talking about, was it Jace? Sorry, it was Riley that was under the Mecha armor, right?
Riley.
Yeah, so we're also talking about Riley in this case. So it's both Mecha and Riley. So we're not just talking about the armor as an objective character, because that would be weird. We're talking about Riley as the character from the beginning of their Massiverse appearance, and then as they became Mecha, because that's where we last saw them. So Mecha / Riley, I would say is a solid B character. I just really like their involvement in Radiant Black. I think they have a personal story. I think like when you look at it in hindsight, especially because I recently read Supermassive, and you realize like he's never in the forefront of the story, because there's just so much going on, and Shift is just ultimately a more compelling character who steals the screen. But like Riley actually has a really cool story, like low key, like seriously, like throughout the Massiverse. So it's like, and Mecha's badass. Like, who didn't love seeing those pages of Radiant Black get like tossed like 4 stories down, landing through into a swimming pool or whatever. So Mecha design A for me. Riley, solid like side story. Really like it overall. I think he's just a cool character. He reminds me a lot of some Invincible characters as well, because there was a lot of Invincible characters like that who had like side stories, and then they didn't really get picked up until some other part of the story later on, where it made more sense to pick up on that, things like that. Like, so it's like I really like Riley in the story. I don't know. Hopefully they do more with him. So I'd say solid B character for me.
Yeah, I'd give him a B too. I think kind of like what Riley said. His design is the weakest out of the Syndicate or the 5 Vindicate. But I like his motivation. Like he had some character growth. He had some loss in his life, so he's a B for me.
I think you're muted.
I think you're muted. Yeah.
Sorry. Love the design. I think I just like, to be honest, like when you mentioned his name, that was like the first time I've thought about him in a super long time. So for me, I think the character himself, I'm gonna put him in C.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Riley's in the chat here. I'm not looking to make rivals or enemies. The design, to me, the mecha design seemed very generic. To me, it didn't really stand out, and I felt like it wasn't the strongest of the Massiverse. And Riley hasn't really like stuck with me. So for me, and of the 5 Indicate, which the 5 Indicate to me, like a lot of the members aren't like the strong. I don't feel like that's the strength of Radiant Black. Granted, there's great stuff in there,
yes.
But to me, it felt like a lot of growing pains over those teenage issues. So C tier for me, personally.
All right. Chat is kind of all over the place. There's 2 votes for A, 2 for B, 2 for C, and 1 for B. Sorry. So I think if we average it out, it's like between B and C.
Okay, we'll put him in C for now, just to be fair, because we put Maria
now.
lower. We'll put Roddy lower, just to be fair.
All right.
So Morningstar is next. I want to say S, but like obviously we can't do that because it's just like unfair. I will say that Morningstar is a lot more involved than we think. There's been lots of breadcrumbs pointing to Morningstar throughout like several different issues. So in that sense, I'll say A, just because there is that Thanos sense for me, or Thanos, or whatever he's pronounced. That's how I took it. I really did get the feeling that they're building up to something big, and there's someone in the background pulling all these strings, and they're fucking terrifying. And then when we saw Morningstar, it really was very satisfying. So I'll say A, because I've been really excited. Like, I don't know, it just gives me that like very big final boss.
Plus the design is lit.
The design is lit. I like the color palette. Like, we have this color theory happening in a lot of these books. They really do a lot with colors. But one thing I really like is that each villain, each hero seems to have their own color motif. And like with Morningstar, I like that green. It's different than Cataclysm, who's very dark green, like almost swampy. Whereas like this kind of green is super light. You'd almost mistake him for like a good character. Then you see him and you're like, nope. So yeah, A for me.
I kind of agree with Chris in the chat. I'm gonna give him an S simply because he's been the puppet master behind everything that's been happening to Dylan and Rogue Sun in his book. And then recently we just saw what he freaking looks like, and he looks freaking awesome. So I'm gonna put him in S tier. I think listen, Ryan, I think some villains do deserve to be in the S tier, and just the effect that Morningstar has had on the book so far. For that reason, he goes into S for me.
Yeah, it's crazy we're even having those S tier conversations, like just the amount of times that we've physically seen this character, just the presence behind the scenes, pulling the strings with all the other villains, doing all that. For me, we'll go S tier. We'll go S tier.
I'm going to be the contrarian once again. I think Morningstar is amazing. I like the build-up, but like I can't really say, oh, this character is like blank. You know, I just know they're kind of manipulative and from behind. So the design is great. I like the build-up, and there's definitely potential for S tier, not to repeat myself 1,000 times. But yeah, for now, it's A, but I feel like S if we get, we don't even know how much of Morningstar we're going to see in this arc right now, honestly. But it could be a minute. But yeah, I think there's potential. And A is, any day is a great day for an A, really.
I'm giving them an A with the assumption that all that text that's been up in the background between Suave and someone, or between Cataclysm and someone, like I'm assuming that was Morningstar, and at this point with all the green text and everything, I think it's a very safe assumption. So I think that gives me a little bit more. Yeah, so I think that puts it an A for me, but I totally understand both of you guys going either one down or one up. So
I think just the threat level, just like, or even like the not knowing aspect of it, it makes the character even more intriguing. But yeah, just knowing the threat level, I think, just easy S for me.
Mm-hmm.
Should be in.
All right, in chat is overwhelmingly out of 8 votes, 6 of them or 5 of them said A. There was 2 S and 1 B. So I think it's a solid A tier right there.
Yeah. But I think the fact that like Ryan Parrott has us all here debating like Morningstar being even up here just shows you how excited we all are, like how good he's been writing this series. I seriously, like, I cannot recommend Rogue Sun enough. If you're reading Radiant Black and you're not reading Rogue Sun, they have nothing to do with each other, but it's just also a really good book. So I highly recommend Rogue Sun. Get your friends reading that shit. It's so good. No One. So, one disclaimer real quick. We didn't put any No One character other than No One because we thought it would be an injustice to do that, like, so far. We wanted to include Julia Gaines and Ben Curran, but, like, just right now, there's just so much happening in the story that it's just, like, any motive can change at any point. We know that the way these issues are structured and that it's a 10-issue series, probably around the 5 or 6 issue mark, there's going to be a big reveal. So it's like, plus I think issue 6 or 7 cover has him taking off his mask. So it's like, I don't want to, like, it's also very tonally different from the rest of the Massiverse. Like, it's very much gritty and grounded for the most part. So I think for that reason alone, we just put No One. We just put No One on the list. No One for me, I think, is an S, and I'll explain why. No One has this incredible effect of being almost like a Massiverse Batman, but not being just a tropey fuck. Like, in my opinion, there's actually a big difference. I think Kyle's commentary on a lot of things that are going on in the world right now really shines through in the book. Like, you can see there's elements of just critiquing things that are real life, or like what he thinks about those things. But there's also a lot of world building. And when you look at how unique and different No One is from the other things, you really get to appreciate a lot more. I think some people criticized it because they were like, this is nothing like Radiant Black. But for me, that's actually what made it so interesting. Like Radiant Black is all cool, Rogue Sun's all cool, all these things are awesome, not to take anything away from them. But No One's really just doing its own thing. Like, it just is really just set in the Massiverse, but very much is nothing like the rest of the titles. So if you're looking for like, oh, Radiant Black crossover or something like that, I don't really think that's going to happen. But like, I do really like the whole crime, the gritty, like, noir story that we have, the thriller. So it's like there's a lot going on. There's so many elements. The fact that it's drawn that much speculation and conversation in Discord and online is fantastic. Like, there's all these ARG elements. It's very cool. I think just all that spawning from one character. And then for me personally, I don't want to speak for anyone else. When I see No One on the page, I do get that satisfying, like, holy shit. It's like, I actually think by putting him in the book less and less, it gives him that really mythic feeling when you see him, like Batman. Like, when they first see Batman and he's like, they're questioning whether he's actually real or not. Like, I do get that sensation when I'm reading No One because he's so, like, in the shadows, he pops and goes. But like, people are like, oh, we want action. I don't think that story is gonna be like every like it's gonna be 20 pages of people beating each other up. I think it's doing a lot more than that.
That's not what it's meant to be. If anything, I think it's playing more on the cowardly and superstitious law of like the old Batman mythos. I'm not sure what you gave no one, but I'll
give S.
I'll give no one an S. Yeah, S tier for me. Just the fact that he's in the shadows. He only appears when he needs to be, but he's kind of like in control of what he needs to be in control of. Great design. Love the shoes. S tier.
Charlie.
You muted Charlie. It's all good.
Characters design is awesome. The shoes are pretty sweet too. I really, the story's been super intriguing, and just the presence of him, like you guys said, without him actually even being on the page is a pretty special thing, and it's not easy to do by any means. But I think for me, he or maybe she, who knows, they're not quite on that level of BB and Cassia and those top Massiverse characters for me. I just haven't resided that much with the character yet, so I'll put them in A.
There's a gravitas to no one that few characters in the Massiverse have, right? And there is the mystique and speculation about it. Bash, you made a good point about like seeing him on page is like a Batman kind of vibe, like whoa, it's a big deal, and there's been a great deal with the build-up. I hope we never see who no one is, and like 10 years later we get Radiant Academy and the identity. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think no one's really cool. I can't say too much about the character. I'm gonna say A tier for me. S tier potential.
All right. I mean, chat's pretty much almost unanimously S tier. There's one person who picked A tier.
Yeah, definitely not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either.
Right. Yeah. So one of you is going to the bathroom. You do that. So we're gonna go on to the next characters, which is Officer Mills and Peters. I'll keep this one short. We'll go a little bit quicker for the next like 5 or 10, just so end around the 2-hour-ish mark. But Officer Mills and Peters, for me, C. They're cool characters. They're fun. They have their moments, but they haven't really been involved in the story. And we did speculate early on that they could be involved in the story. Like maybe they could work in tandem with Marshall if he was gonna be the superhero for the town. That didn't happen. But when they do show up, it's always a fun gag. You know what? I'll even put them at D, actually. I'll put them at D because every time they show up, for the most part, it is a gag. So they haven't really added much to the story since early on. And for that reason, I add them as a D. But I don't think they're bad or anything. I think they're funny. And it's always like a good laugh when we see them.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna definitely agree with I think I'm gonna agree with Bash on this one. Like, yeah, nothing really. Like, it's always cool to see them there, and it's just like it always brings us back to that first night that they got the Radiant. So it's kind of that just cool reminder. But I think they honestly don't really add much to the story for me personally. So yeah, I'll probably go like top of D for me.
I'm going to say C tier. I really like the characters. I almost want to put them in B, but Bash made a lot of good points, and so did Charlie, about how, the utility aspect isn't really, they haven't been utilized that much. It's a nice way to learn how the police are feeling about Marshall and stuff like that, and kind of get intel. I like that we have them as characters that exist just in the world of more people we know, but they don't serve a major purpose and aren't there that often or enough that I can really tell you anything about them other than like their jokey kind of fun coughs. So yeah, I'm going C tier.
Yeah, I'm going to put him in D for now until Ali comes back and he'll let us know the results. We'll move on to the next character. So here we have Dr. I think Janine Caro.
Caro.
I forget her name. Yeah.
Caro.
Yeah, she was the OG Inferno Glow Red. She had a really cool legacy costume. She showed up early on in the series as the OG Inferno Glow Red, and then she was involved more in the story later on. Don't want to spoil if you haven't read it. These were in preview pages. I think based on just her character in Inferno Glow Red is actually really cool, and towards the end of Inferno Glow Red, you realize that they're setting up more with her, and the role that they're setting up is actually super cool. Her design as the OG Inferno Glow Red is fucking incredible. Like, it really is. Like, in my opinion, I was like, oh my god, you know what I mean? And it's like distinct enough to where it's like looking at like Jay Garrick and then seeing Barry Allen's costume. It's like that distinct to where it's like two different things, but there is that that symbolism and that like there's a common element. So I love that about that. So I'll say B for me. B because she was a super solid character. I'm very excited to see more of her, but I haven't seen enough to. Yeah, she wasn't enough in it. She was in it for like 2 issues, and even though there were a bit bigger issues, I need to see more before I give her an A.
So wait, what did you give her, a B?
For OG Inferno already, yeah.
OG, yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone remember her name? Her like
Dr. Caro or something like that.
Yeah,
Janine
Caro
Caro,
was her
right.
last. Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't be able
Right.
to remember it if Bash didn't. So that's not a good point.
Yeah, I'll give her a B. I love her OG design. I like how you compared it with like Barry and Jay Garrick for the Flash. But I'll give her a B. I wish we got to see more of Caro helping Cassia like in their just civilian uniforms or lives. It kind of felt like she was purposely trying to stay away from that. But yeah, she's a B for me. I think she could go higher in the future.
For me, I think I would say this is easily, like, when I think of my favorite costume in the Massiverse, this is it. Like, this is my favorite design in the Massiverse. I will say, personally. But I loved her presence behind the scenes, and still have a lot of questions about her kind of relationship with Cassia's mom. And kind of getting more into that, like they used to work together, but how did they meet each other? Kind of like I am curious about that. But yeah, I just want to see more of her character. So yeah, I'll go with an A.
I'm gonna say A. I like the way she presents herself. She's kind of like Dumbledore, where it's like she's kind of like the headmaster that has like a little more going on. And it's kind of like, oh, this could be who I used to destroy, wizard, whatever. Not gonna say bannable words, but yeah. Yeah, I like what she brings to the table. It gives me like a Seven Secrets vibes of just how like wise she is and like looking to mentor young people and stuff like that. And her design is sick as hell. Like that's an S tier design. So and we didn't get a ton of her dialogue and stuff like that, but you get an S tier design mixed with cool character. I'm going A.
All right, fair enough. Chat has said B tier. 4 out of 6 have said B tier. We got 1 S and 1 B.
Wow.
I could see her being A though. She's a really cool character. She
I think she's like high B, low A.
Yeah, she leaves an impression for sure though. Like more so than some of like at least 3 of these other B characters I can see. So who do we got next? Ornit. So Ornit, in my opinion, is one of the best Rogue Sun villains, and he had the best outing against the Rogue Sun villain that wasn't pure action, in my opinion, because there was so much happening in that issue, and it was so cool, and there's so much potential for more. I think it's really hard to give Ornit higher than a B, because even though the design is S, and that entire issue was S++++++, I can't really give a character like an A or an S if they've only appeared in like 1 issue. So I think maybe 2 issues at the most. Maybe he cameoed in like 1 more issue where they showed him at Flash. But it's like still like 2 issues really hard. They're not like Dr. Caro, where it's like 2 out of 3 issues that were all oversized. This not the same thing. It's almost 4 issues when we look at it. But no, like this guy was barely in 2 issues. So for that reason, I'll say B. But I think he has an S design, and I think he has the potential long term to be an A/S character.
Yeah, kind of like what you said. He wasn't there for too long or too many issues. But when he was there, it was great. So I'm gonna give him a B tier. Can't wait to see him again.
Yeah, he feels like his design's completely unique. The purpose of him, he feels like a lot of characters I've seen before. But he's super cool. His powers are cool. That issue was just super awesome. But yeah, I can't really say too much more about like the depth of his character or anything. So yeah, I'll go with a B.
Sorry about that. Clicked out of the window.
Okay.
I don't know. I agree with Bash's points about like there wasn't enough time, but I mean, if there's any character that can get by a lack of time or any time manipulation, I feel like it's Ornate. The design is really sick. You're always gonna remember issue 7 of like, wow, that was the Choose Your Own Adventure, and who was the reason for Choose Your Own Adventure? Ryan Parrott. But I mean, he wrote the character. He wrote Ornate. It was the perfect kind of vehicle for that. The design is sick, and I still kind of think of this gravitas that Ornate has that puts it above B tier and makes him A tier for me.
Sweet. Before where did everybody vote for Ornit?
I said a B for Ornate. For the chat,
Yeah,
it's kind of all over the place. We got 1 S, we got 2 A's. We got 3 Bs and 1 C. It's
I'm
kind of
B.
all over the place. I like
B
that.
makes sense. So if someone's asking, 'cause you were in the bathroom, what did you think of Mills and Peters? I think most of us said C or D. Most of us said D because they're just gags and they just like show up as a joke and they haven't been utilized. What do you?
Yeah, I wouldn't give him a D quite myself. I'll give him a C myself, just because, kind of like you said, it's always nice when they're around. Like, it's funny, like when Marshall, bust their balls or whatever. But they're very minor characters, so I'd put them in C tier.
Yeah, I think C looks like it got 60% of the vote in the chat.
So Orson's next, and this is another one that's a bit of a joke character because we all love him, kind of like Kevin McAllister. I'll give Orson an A just because I think it really humanizes Marshall in a way that we assumed he lacked. We assumed he lacked responsibility, but the fact that he cares for Orson, that he shows that he cares for Orson even in times of distress, like he was worried about his dog, things like that. I just really like whenever he shows up in an issue. Orson's really cute, and that moment genuinely had me terrified. It took me back to Peanut Butter of Firepower, where it's please don't kill this poor dog. And then you get that epic moment of Dark Radiant Black with the dog. That was such a cool page. So I'll give Orson an A for that reason. He's just such a cool pooch. Love dogs.
Like I said, I'm more of a cat person than a dog person, so I would have to give Orson a B. He's had less appearances than Kevin McAllister, less appearances than Kitty.
This guy's got a strong case. Okay, no, that's a strong case for sure. But I think just the love I have for Orson, he's got to join Kevin McAllister in A for me.
Yeah, Orson, I really like the way, it's we're just talking about, Marshall's dog who hasn't been in a ton of issues, but the way he's been implemented, it has been great with Marshall's mom. Dogs, they cost money, Marshall. To talk about the finances of owning a pet, it's the finances of keeping something or someone you love around, So I like that, and when the house was getting blown up, if they kill Orson, So yeah, I'm going B tier.
Sweet. Yeah, plus, yeah, exactly. If the house got blown up and Orson's still alive, that means he's the last, link. So it's come on. What did the chat say?
It's mostly S tier.
Holy
3 out of 5 said S, yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Love that. Love
there you
that.
Go. I think I'll let the chat
Love
speak
that.
to this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue against that.
The doggo's up there. I guess we know which chat prefers dogs or cats. I guess we know now.
Oh,
Dottie Payrian. So Dottie's really cool. I think she's a better character than fucking Jeremiah Arkham in Batman. That dude's always monotonous as fuck. But this character is actually really cool. She has some really cool moments, even though functionally she's a lot similar. I'm gonna say a solid B. No, I'm gonna say A. Fucking man, Dottie's awesome. She always has really good zingers. She's functionally a very important part of the Rogue Sun story, and as we saw in the most recent issue, there is plans to include her more and more. There is a bit of bias here. I don't know if she actually deserves A or not, but I think she's definitely a step above some of the B characters there. I'm looking at Brock. No, I'll put her at B. I'll put her at B, but I think she has A potential. I'll say that. I'll put her at B, but I think she has A potential, and I love the whole jewel freak.
I'll put her at A, man. She's both a prison warden, a sorcerer / magician, and a therapist. And she takes care of these people living in her house that can, kill her, destroy her whole house. She's pretty cool. She serves a great purpose. She's almost kind of like a pseudo mentor to Dylan. So she's an A tier for me. I love Dottie.
Plus, she maxed out her jewel crafting skill as well with all the gems.
Yes, jewel crafting 100.
Nah, she's super badass. I was honestly debating S for a second, but I don't think she's had quite enough time for that yet. But I was going back through Rogue Sun a couple days ago, and I saw in 7, I forgot about it. Showed that little flash, and it showed her having some sort of power. I don't know, a sunstone or some sort of power. So I definitely that would be cool to see one day. But I think she seems like a character. She definitely knows a lot more than she lets on, I feel like. I'm curious about her past, where she's come from. So yeah, she's an A character for me.
Yeah, Tyler makes a good point about the therapy session boosting her to an A.
Totally.
even without it, I feel like she's in the conversation. But for me, I'd say A. She's a great like tentpole in the of the series. Like, oh yeah, we had this little corner of like just the jewelry store and stuff like that, the Peregrine or whatever it's called. Like that's a really cool location, and it wouldn't exist without her fitting in perfectly and allowing for it to be there. And she just has a lot of great elements. She's a good source of wisdom, and she's a great character. So A.
She's also the first character to put Dylan like in his place too. Like she completely bitched him out, and yeah, didn't know.
I actually
That was
agree with
awesome.
Tyler as well. Like I'd say the last issue boosted her to A for me.
Yeah,
Right.
because she's not just keeping them there; she's doing something with it.
Yeah. So what's chat saying? A.
A tier. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's awesome. That makes me happy.
That's
So
awesome.
Pyre. So this one we'll do it more of a design / aesthetic vote because, and more of it just like the vibes you get because we really don't know much about this character. What I will say is that Dead Lucky's been lacking in terms of having a gallery of rogues because we have an entity that has generic robots, which most technocratic things they just have a bunch of robots, right? The robots could look cool, but when it's like robots, unless you like name the bots like Transformers and give them personalities, there's gonna be robots. So the Marobots, they're cool, but they don't have personality because they're grunts basically. But I think characters like Pyre, and then there was another one with Pyre when Shift showed up. That one was unnamed, so we don't know their name yet.
It's still unnamed, right? They never released
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we do have people like Gust, which I didn't include yet because we've barely seen much of him, who's the leader of the I forgot the gang's name, but the gangs that's rebelling. So it's like we have a lot of these cool characters, and then recently we got like Torrid and those guys in the most recent issue of Dead Lucky. So we're getting Dead Lucky is 5 and 6. You get a lot of new cool characters who seem like they're gonna stay. So it was really hard to put those guys here because they've literally only been in the book for 1 or 2 issues, and barely that when they're in the book. But in terms of Pyre, I think he has one of the coolest designs from all the villains. I actually think his design is cooler than some of the 5 Vindicate guys, even though it's similar. Like it just works better with the whole fire like motif and everything. So I'll say just purely based on visual aesthetic, just that. I'd say, and my excitement to see more, I'll say B.
I love his design, and I agree. His design's a little better than some of the Syndicate people. But I don't feel good putting him in the B tier. I'm gonna have to go with C for this one just because barely seen him like a couple panels, if anything.
Like what I will say is that what puts him in B above C for me is that I know he'll be in 8 and 9 because he's on the cover for 8 and he's in the solicit for 9.
Yeah.
So I think that makes me feel better knowing this is gonna be someone who's gonna be at least like an XL / sheer / like that level villain for BB.
Yeah, I think I'm a little more cool on him as well. I'd honestly put him like he was the first villain I really thought of putting in D tier, just the lack of not knowing anything about him. But I feel like his design is really cool, but it is very similar to like Shift's in a way. Like I feel like they all have a little similar designs. I'll go probably bottom of C for me.
Yeah, just not enough yet. A cool design is, there's not enough to judge on, and even if it's a cool suit, we don't know anything else that fills the suit, and even then, it's not like the coolest suit. Like, it's cool, maybe like A or B tier design. For me, I'm gonna go C, just because there's not enough yet.
Greg wants A. Greg, like, we got a Pyre fan here. Big Pyre fan.
He looks cool. I mean,
Gotta love it. He does look badass. He does. I can't argue against. I really can't argue against it. Cannot.
It's gonna be
This one's kind of all over the place for the chat. We got 3 for A, half the votes for A, and then 2 for B and 2 for C.
Ooh.
So
okay. I'll put him
let's
in B.
say
'cause that seems down.
averages out to B, right?
Yeah, so I'll put him in B. He looks cool, man. Fire slinging, like I'm just excited by the prospect of that because that's a bit different than everything else that like we've had so far. We had enough people with katanas. So hey, Greg, good to see you. And tech bros and everything. Speaking of Radia, so I think when we're talking Cowl characters, I think Radia is an S. I think the fact that Radio was even scripted to be appearing in Radiant Black number 15, but then was removed because of space issues and that kind of stuff. Like, I think that shows you that they like Radio a lot. She was also in the cover. That cover for Radiant Black 15, the pixelated cover with the character choices, she's one of the selections. I think if you read Cowl, I think it's really hard to walk out of reading Cowl and say that Radio is not a favorite. Like, it's like, I guarantee if you've read Cowl, she's one of the top 3 characters from the story. So in that sense, I'd say for Cal, I think she's an S. But like in the greater Massiverse, I'd say she's an A.
I fully agree. I've said her and Eclipse are my favorite Kyle characters. But since we're looking at the whole Massiverse, she's an A for me.
Yeah, no, easy cosign. I would say she's easily my favorite character in Cowl. And totally agree with Bash's point, like easy S character. But yeah, with all the rest of them not quite involved in the Massiverse as of yet. Maybe future, who knows? But yeah, I'll go with A for now.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but yeah, I hear good things about Radio, so I'm just gonna not vote.
All right, chat has said A.
Nice.
Okay.
So Radiant Black. Should I just like save us all the time and we'll just move on? Like honestly, like I think everyone's gonna like it's S. We can all give our reasons, but let's be real. This is the Radiant Black podcast.
What's Radiant Black?
This is Marshall. This is Marshall or both?
No, this is just Radiant Black. Right?
So both of them.
So both of them, yeah. So just Radiant Black. I think it's an easy S. Like,
yeah.
Just give it S and move on. Everyone's gonna unanimous. I mean, here's what we'll do. I think I speak for everyone here when we say S, unless someone disagrees. But I'm pretty sure everyone agrees. Yeah. So if you're in the chat, you go ahead and vote for what you think of Radiant Black. We're gonna move on to the next one, but we'll show the votes. I guarantee it'll either be all S and 1A or pretty much all S. Yeah. So Ali, you want to show the stats?
Nothing's come in yet.
Okay.
Because it's no point in voting. We all know it's S. It's just S and enter. We know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Radiant Pink. So Radiant Pink. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna speak my personal truth. I think Radiant Pink is the only Radiant that doesn't belong in S. I just think like I think like I just think she doesn't work as well functionally within the story, aside from being a plot device, which is a portal, like compared to the rest yet. But I think there will be a moment. I think she has had really good moments though, of like S moments. But I just think compared to like Wendell or like Radiant Black or like Satomi, it's just like she definitely lacks compared to those characters. And when I look at her miniseries, I think it also lacks compared to those miniseries and those. Like even when you look at Radiant Black 18, like Radiant Black 18 is like super high quality and it's basically just a Radiant Yellow issue. So I think you can't go wrong when you say S or A. I think you'd be right saying both. But for me personally, I think when I compare her to the other Radiants, design S, all that bullshit S, but like characterization story wise, I think we haven't gotten that story that makes everybody a Radiant Pink fan yet. We just have moments that make her cute.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I think I'm gonna take her S tier. She's probably my favorite non-Radiant Black Radiant, I should say. She's still young. She's the youngest out of all of them, so I guess she's the one that has the most like highs and lows, and they're very far apart, the highs from the lows. I really liked her miniseries. I love cats. Eva's my favorite. I don't have much else to say. She's S tier for me.
Yeah, no, this is I might have to go with Bash on this one. I'll probably say she's probably the toppest of top A. I can go, and kind of later I think we'll save that for later. But I think there might be one other Radiant I might have join her, but we'll see when we get there. I'll go A.
Yeah, I feel like because her arc, it was kind of just like kind of obvious for me in Pink, like, oh yeah, maybe take less time or take some time for you. Like, yeah, obviously that'd be a solution. It felt like at any point she could just, hop off Twitter, and I didn't like how she was just easily manipulated by Kelly. I like the character; she is really fun. The portal ability is fun. Her interactions are great. Her relationship with Wendell is great. But yeah, it's A tier for me. Could be higher, but yeah. A.
All right, and chat. Oh, we're kind of all over the place. So 4 out of 8 votes said S tier, 2 said A, and 2 said B.
Look,
This one's hard.
The law of averages says A,
A, yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna put her in S just for you fanboys. Just
All right.
we'll just do you all solid and put her in S because I don't want to be like attacked. So yeah,
Start a riot over here.
You don't want the wrath of the Pinkies.
Like for me, the only difference between Radiant Pink and the rest is that she hasn't had that like epic story single issue. Her origin was solid, no disagreement there. But when you look at Radiant Black 18, the Infinite Edition, or just the normal, but that story, or when you look at any of Wendell's moments where he's on his own, they're very powerful. They're really like he really resonates well. I feel like the same way for Satomi. When I reread Radiant Red, I'm like, I think we were a bit harsh on it the first time we read it through. Like, this is a really good series. But then I look at like Radiant Pink, and I'm just like, this is just like a fun series. I don't think they're actually trying to say much about like Eva here. And that's
One fatality from Pink, and I'm sold. And she goes S tier. One portal that slices someone in half or something, like the arm chopping off of Obsidian, whatever, in Infinity War. It's cool. She needs that. I think you're right though. She needs that moment. Like, she definitely has potential to be S.
She has to have like an issue that focuses on her, that really shows her like off her character, her persona more than her origin, because her origin was solid, but it was like more in the now, like what's happened since then. It should be more about like, I don't know, I want to see more beyond her as a streamer. Like what does she really want to do with this power? Like, what are her dreams? I really liked that about Radiant Red, was that Satomi was kind of trying to discover herself, whereas Radiant Pink, it was just like, let's just go have fun. And like you said, yeah, like she fell for Kelly a bit too easily, but I think there was some sort of setup there, because we've seen in the past she was looking for some sort of like
she was on the rebound,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
She was looking for a rebound, so it's like there was some sort of like suckerness there, but like I do agree with you, it was a bit too simple. Radiant Yellow, I'll keep this one quick even though I never do. I think S, because he has some of the best stories in the Massiverse. A lot of the issues with him as the focus are so good. He's such a wild card that like it's crazy. He first of all, he has one of the coolest visual cues in the entire Massiverse when he just like glitches in and out of existence to do his calculations. That's so cool. Second is that he's such a wild card, because you never know what he actually brings to the story. He could change the course of the entire story by just telling them something. Like, he can see certain things. It's just so, I don't know, Radiant is freaking cool. Like, there's no two ways about it. And I also think beyond the mask, he's one of the most interesting characters in the entire Massiverse. Like, he's actually a cool guy. There's so much history when he's with his family. Like, it's just very tense. There's a lot there happening. I really like the story about him trying to make it, like as a young guy, and him having like tasted success, but that's it really, because they got yanked away and life got in the way. So I think Radiant Yellow is just super, it's just S, man. Like, he's just so good. I'm always thirsting for more Radiant Yellow. Like we all are. We're all like begging for more Radiant
Definitely.
Yellow.
A Timey Wimey miniseries would be chef's kiss right now.
Totally with you.
Yeah. I mean, Wendell's an S for me. He's a great character. In and out of the suit, he's awesome. Honestly, just Radiant Black 18 alone, getting to know Wendell and his life, seeing it all like that, it's amazing. Wendell's S tier for sure.
Yep. Cosign, easy S for me. Matt.
I mean, he's been S tiering this whole kind of timeline event, so he's S tier. I mean, the power set 18, you feel it. I can visualize his face as he watches that he's accidentally setting up automation. You know what I mean? Like, it was so freaking well done, and like putting up with Marshall and like these kids and stuff like that. Like, I'm too old for this shit energy. Like, it's great. He's smart. He inadvertently got his own demise. He lost the daughter bond, like not being there for his daughter. You can see how that connection builds towards him and Eva. Like, for a guy that, you know, hasn't got the spinoff that we've all been begging for, there's so much to love. S.
I'm gonna put him in S while we find out the chapter.
It's 7 out of 8 people said S. It's almost unanimous, so I want to know who said A. You don't want to show yourself.
It's probably Wendell himself, judging himself too harshly. He seems to do that a lot. But all I'm gonna say is, spoiler right now, not a Radiant Black spoiler. Spoiler for Rogue Sun trivia. The winner of the trivia is gonna get a Radiant Black 18 but it's Rogue Sun trivia. Well, fuck it. The winner of the trivia will get a Radiant Black 18. We'll get Rogue Sun thing too, but one of the prizes is a Radiant Black 18 Infinite Edition. But those are fucking expensive, right? Those are actual expensive. So Radiant Black 18 Infinite Edition, as in the big fold-out one, signed by Kyle Higgins. So next week's Rogue Sun trivia, if you win,
And Para, right? Did Ryan sign it too?
You get that. Yep. Signed. I think it's just signed by Kyle. So
Okay,
Yeah.
still.
The
that's
Stay
the
Radiant.
Yeah, it's just Kyle, and it does say Stay Radiant at the
It
top.
does
Okay.
say Stay Radiant. Yeah. So that one's limited. They sold out now, but they were on the black market website for a while. I think it was like an NYCC exclusive.
Get
or
your
something.
widest table out and enjoy. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
also
exactly.
Ori's in it too, so there is some Rogue Sun connection as well.
Yes.
It's not just entirely,
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's one of the best issues of the entire Massiverse, in my opinion, and that's the best
Mhm.
way to read it. So next week, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Rogue Sun Trivia. That's just one of the prizes. There'll be 2 prizes. The other one for the winner was the Rogue Sun poster, the big, huge poster that was given to comic book stores as a promo, so you can't buy that shit. Signed by Ryan Parrott. So you get that, and you get this if you win the trivia. It's going to be fun. There's also a second place prize, and we'll see if there's a lot of people. Maybe we'll do a third place prize. There you go. So there it is, and it's signed by Ryan Parrott. It's hard to see, but I swear his signature's there. And on the back side, yeah, there it is. On the back side, I think it's a Supermassive, right? Poster. So there you go.
That's cool.
Double the sexiness. Yeah. So yeah, Radiant Greg actually. Did you hear that we could be getting a Wendell spinoff? Michael Basuto said Stefano Simeone is working in the Massiverse. He is. He said that Stefano just finished something massive and that like can't wait for people to see it. I'm not gonna speculate anything because they've they're kind of like fucking with us. They get us like overthinking shit because they put all these things that require overthinking and then they pivot and then they're like, no, you cannot guess what we're gonna do because we're not always gonna do what you think we're gonna do. So at this point, I'm just not gonna guess anything. But I am very excited that Stefano's working on something because his artwork is incredible. Like you can see some behind Charlie, right? Or that's Mana, but you can see the cover behind Charlie there. So that's the Rating Back 18.
Yeah.
Stefano's incredible. Like I'm always excited when he's working on something. He has such a distinct like art style. You could tell it's him immediately. Very excited. So yeah, Radiant. I need Radiant Red Volume 2 online. Dude, I recently reread Radiant Red, and it's such a good like miniseries. Like I really didn't appreciate it at the time, but once you reread it and you're kind of like taken away from all the events of the Massiverse at the time, because I think we were all on a high then with everything happening. You realize like it's so good. I even forgot like Satomi had that like alternate costume in the
The Mercury
final.
suit is sick with the
Mercury
Mercury
suit,
S. Like that's clean as hell. Like, I want to see that come back.
Yeah, and the
If
panel
every
compositions.
If every Radiant gets their own kind of like upgrade beyond Cape mode, like with maybe some element or something, like that'd be cool too. Like this isn't like superhero team up book, but the shit we could do and the difference, like the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So yeah, next week, so many good prizes, guys. I'm telling you, it's gonna be even better because trivia, it's actual competition. It's gonna be questions and fun. Make sure you reread Rogue Sun. We're gonna ask you questions on every single issue, except the most recent one. Maybe there's one question in the most recent issue.
There'll be info in the Discord too, so if you want to
Yeah.
like make sure you don't miss out on anything, that's the best place to be. Also, pay attention to our Twitter at Radiant Black Pod to never miss out on any giveaway or any event like this, because we'll be doing more live streams and stuff like that. If you guys haven't noticed, it's really fun to do, and it's a great way to communicate and get the pulse of the Massiverse for this ever-evolving saga.
Yes. So let's finish this. We have the last row here, and we're done. So almost done. So Radiant Red. I thought about giving Radiant Red an A. I really did, but I think rereading Radiant Red recently, I really think it's an S. Like Satomi's such an interesting character. She's such a badass. She's the powerhouse of the team. I think people referred to her as a tank. That's like an apt description, but she's not just the tank. She's actually like the brawler. Like she's actually the strongest one in terms of raw physical, just like brawling power. Like I bet she punches the hardest is what I'm saying. Like Radiant Black is probably might tap into higher power levels because like he's cosmic. I don't know really, maybe they all tap into the same power levels, but based on what we've seen so far, she seems to hit the hardest. When they were hitting the robots, she's the only one that really put in a dent on her own.
And matter absorption. If you're not the strongest, you can be in a couple minutes.
She's creative. Like she can do so much with her powers. It's a very flexible like power set. It's really cool, honestly. So I think Radiant Red is very underrated in a lot of ways. I think we kind of take her for granted because like we've had so much material with her, so we can kind of look forward to the other Radiants. But when you like shift back to those material to that material and you reread it, I think you appreciate it a lot more. Her Hulkbuster design, her Mercury suit, just her straight anger, her resolve as a character is very important as Satomi. I think she goes through one of the most interesting transformations as well in the Massiverse. So I'm gonna say honestly, it's an S. It's hard not to give Satomi an S.
It's an easy S for me as well. Like you said, she's had huge growth. Cherish Chen wrote her so well, both in her solo issue and her miniseries. She's got a great power set. She's like basically the Hulk smasher of this group. Satomi, rating red, S tier, easy.
Yeah, I think I was kind of debating this too. I think like definitely one of the only things, like it took me a little bit of time getting used to the different kind of art style in the new, like in her mini series and stuff. Like wasn't a huge fan of just that style at first, but kind of like, yeah, like Bash said, reading through it and just kind of like getting the story and her motivations, kind of like what she has to go through, what she's forced into, is definitely super interesting, and definitely one of the best characters in the Massiverse. So yeah, I'll go S.
She's definitely the hothead of the series, right? She's always seeing red. The design really feeds into it well with being able to take so much shit. It'd be nice to have that power to absorb it and then, reflect it back at other people. She's had a lot to go on. I need her to get a win for me. Like, even when she gets a win, she still ends up in prison. Like, everyone's coming for her all the time. I'd like to see, I want to see her, like, in Catalyst War or something, like, hey, we might have thrown her in prison, but the guy's not even dead, and look, we're safe from robots. Like, I need that extra oomph, but, like, she's awesome. I'm never like, oh, get Satomi off the page, but I need a little bit more extra something. For S tier, for me, she's A right now.
Alrighty.
Alright, well, chat was unanimous S.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to tell me about it.
Awesome. So Raven Queen. Raven Queen, I think she has an A origin and storyline in those brief moments where she's talking about herself, but I think she's been in the story so little that I can't give her an A without seeming like super biased. I'm going to give her a B because she had a very touching storyline. I think it was building up into something more interesting. I really liked that she was a normal person aspect of it all. I think Raven Queen's a really cool character. I looking at the Avery and the role it played and how Dylan went to her, I don't think we've seen the last of her. I think she's a mainstay and hopefully could be an ally rather than an enemy. And I think she's just having her lieutenant be the doorman, that just adds a sense of like super coolness to her. So I think she's a solid B for me.
Yeah, she's a solid. I think I want to put her at A, but it's just because we haven't gotten too much of her, especially like her before she became the Raven Queen. I know she kind of hinted at that, so it's a B tier for me for Raven Queen.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys. Her reveal was super cool, and even I was hoping to get even a little more into that one issue in the aviary, but we definitely got a really cool glimpse. She looks super badass, but yeah, I think there's definitely still more that I want to see there, so I'll go with B.
For me, you guys make a lot of good points about her being B, and I feel like, yeah, there's definitely some good arguments there. I feel like I like her point in the series, how she's met Dylan's dad. She's like kind of beyond the underworld. We don't have a lot of female characters in powerful positions, really, in the supernatural realms, I feel like, so it's kind of cool to have that. That's more like a distinction, and, a lot of people hopping off Twitter, I feel like the aviary is probably going to be where a lot of us are messaging each other, getting info. No, I like it. I'm going to give her an A tier, because I feel like even in one issue, like, she has a lot of weight and she's an important figure that we're going to see more of. And the aviary was really epic, the location. So, it's got to be A for me.
All right, and chat has said B. It's a little more than half for B.
Okay.
5 out of 8.
Right.
The rest said A, so
Okay.
it is.
So Shift, I want to give Shift an S, and I do think he has an S design. I mean, Daniele Dinaculo, my bias is going to show. I'm in love with the guy. So S design, that goes without saying. But like, I feel kind of like I'm cheating if I give him an S.
He's been important. He's been prominent.
Very prominent.
He's
couple
prominent.
books.
But like, okay. You know what? I'll give him an S. I will give him an S. And my reasoning for not giving him an S was because we don't know much about him. But I'll give him an S because he does have the Red X/Joker element, where it's like you don't know much about him, but that actually makes you like him more. He has this like wild card mysteriousness to him.
He doesn't know much about him with the memory issues, right? We don't know how much he retains either, which is another element.
I'm waiting for the Memento issue where like Kyle gives us like a Memento homage issue where you could read it like both back and forwards, and it's just like the whole thing is Guy's origin, how he became shit. But no, yeah, I'll say S tier for that reason. He's just so interesting. He's like even though you don't know much about him, you can't help but be fascinated with him. And whenever he's on the page, he has very strong page presence. He's crossed over several of the titles. She's really cool when he was fighting alongside and then against Dead Lucky. So yeah, I'll give him an S. He's a badass.
I'll give him an S too. In my opinion, he's the main villain of the Massiverse. He's everywhere. He's been involved with all the characters, and he's got a great design. Cool personality for a villain, like, the one you kind of love to hate. So Shift's an S tier for me.
It's like, why does Kieran want him so bad, man? Like, what the fuck does a postal office worker want with this, like, random ass?
He committed mail fraud. He committed mail fraud. It's a serious federal offense.
He can deliver sensitive mail and forget that he delivered it. So if you're ordering sketchy stuff.
Yeah, for me, Shift is the only Radiant Black villain for sure. In the S tier, he's definitely top of the chain, villains wise. He's even in the Massiverse, I'd say he's been in 4 books now. So he is 4 different titles. Radiant Red, his own, Dead Lucky, and Radiant Black. So he's been super prominent, super important, and super badass design. So I'll go S.
You talked me into S tier for him. You guys have all made really good points, and I feel he's everywhere, right? And I'm always excited to see him interact with a character. Like, oh, he's going to be in Dead Lucky. I can't wait to see him win BB. Like, BB's going to punch his face off, right? Like, he adds situations. He's always kind of like knife in the wound to like dagger people into doing stuff. And the memory loss issues also add a lot of depth to him, where you're questioning, like, how much does he even know? I want a backstory. And when you're craving a backstory for someone, that tells me you did a good job.
That's fair. And it's almost unanimously yes. We have 1 vote for A.
Sweet.
So Shift is our first S tier villain?
Yeah.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, he is, yeah. There you go, Kyle. Pat yourself on the back, buddy. He wrote the best villain in the Massiverse. There you go. So far, at least. But Ryan has the most consistent. Look at that. So many villains. My God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But that just shows you the Massiverse is full of cool rogues. Next, we've got Reggie. Sorry, we've got. Fuck, it's Reggie.
That is Reggie. That is Reggie.
I was like, it's not Byron. Byron's dating, the girl that's older than him. So
Gone but often forgotten.
yeah. So Reggie right here, and badass guy with the sword and everything.
It's sword.
think
Love
Reggie
it.
is an
Good
A.
choice of picture.
Yeah, for me, he's an A because I think he's so important to the Rogue Sun story. I think he humanizes Dylan more so than he realizes, even beyond his sacrifice for Dylan, because he didn't even know that was Dylan. That shows that he's heroic, Reggie, that is. But when he's a friend to Dylan when Dylan needs it, even though Dylan doesn't appreciate it. So for that reason, he's an A for me.
I want to give him an S just for. I want to give him an S just for his sacrifice. Or if I'm really thinking about it, I'm gonna have to give him an A. He's Dylan's Uncle Ben moment. Great sacrifice at the end. He didn't even know he was sacrificing himself for Dylan. So Reggie's an A for me. R.I.P.
I'll definitely go. I'll go A on him. He's that Eddie. Definitely not the same relationship, but he is the Eddie kind of character for Rogue Sun. So yeah, they're kind of on that same level for me. Super important for our main character. So yeah, I'll go with A.
Oh, this is the Reginator, right? Like, he's a big deal. It'd be nice to see him get some Reg Dead redemption, maybe in the afterlife or something against what's this? No, you guys are higher on him than me. I like it. I think he serves a great purpose and stuff like that. I don't even know if I can put him in B, which makes me think he might be more A. It's tough. Like, I'm thinking about it right now. Like, Reggie, a lot of comic readers, myself included, can relate to him. And maybe some of these people manipulating you and stuff like that and not seeing your worth. You don't see your own worth. And then, you see it there. It was a great finale for her, like an amazing end arc for the character. And if that's his arc, then, like, let's go A. Screw it. Talk myself into it. He's great. He's great on screen, and he works, and he improves the story, fleshes out our lead.
Yeah, and half the votes went A. There were a couple that went to C and one S. So it's A tier, I guess.
Yeah, I think you could debate he had a little less of a role in the series
Yeah.
as, like, let's say Eddie did, but no, he still kind of saved that same purpose. So, and he's super badass.
So Rogue Sun, I'm gonna just leave him in S for now, and we can. I think we all vote Rogue Sun S on the pod. I can't really see anybody here
Easy.
not voting. Rogue Sun.
Definitely.
Dylan?
So
Yeah.
we'll just poll it to the chat. You can vote what you think of Rogue Sun. That's across the board for us. It's a no-brainer. Brilliant character. Just so it's brilliant not only from a design, but the story is so good and different enough from Radiant Black that it's just like it really just hits on everything perfectly. So
He's the biggest asshole of the characters, but it works so well because you get why he is. You've seen his upbringing, like his mom tried to kill him and his dad. You know what I mean? Like you understand why he's the way he is, and he's already improved. Even if it seems in little like small steps, he's actually quite a bit different than he started.
So 17 villains in 13 issues. That's better than 6 seasons in a movie. I'm
That's
telling you.
fucking
crazy.
crazy. That's insane. That's
17
amazing.
villains in 13 issues. Some of them are real. I don't know about you guys, but I am hyped for Reverend.
And it's crazy how like they're all somewhat memorable. Like how that's hard to do. Like,
An
Oh my
alienator,
God, I
like
can't wait,
bruh.
man. The newest wave of villains Ryan introduced are hyped. Like I really can't wait.
Let's call up Todd right now and get the action figures going, because I'll have a wall of those guys. I don't care.
So Kelly is the next. What did chat vote for Rogue Sun? Is it S?
Yeah, unanimous.
Okay, we're almost done here, guys. The next few will be pretty quick, I think, because they're easy. Kelly, I think, is D for me. I don't really think she adds anything to the story other than like fun. Like it didn't really make sense. I wasn't convinced by the whole thing. I didn't really like her as a character. I found her annoying. Wasn't really convinced by the whole romance aspect either. Like, I just found I don't know. I wasn't a fan of Kelly overall. I really wasn't. I wanted to like her. I really did, but I never got the feeling she was really a victim. I got the feeling that she was an asshole. Yeah. So
I'd give her a C. Just one higher than you. I'd give her a C. I feel like she. You know what? I'm gonna say D, just because at the end, literally in the last issue where she went balls to the wall, I feel like up to that point she was redeemable, but now it's like you dug your own grave. Now you gotta lay in it.
the chat has spoken, but I'll let the rest of us finish. I think we're all on the same wavelength.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, she just didn't do much for me, to be honest. That's probably as much as I'm gonna say. So yeah, Matt, you're up.
Tyler makes a good point. Her in the future coming back as like a super jaded villain, going full villain, I think would be cool. I like how they ended it like properly with her like left out.
I'd rather that. I would rather that for sure.
Yeah. This was, I feel like it didn't help with her being stuck with Kelly directly and like the like, oh, will they, won't they? It's like, I know she's a villain. I know she's bad. She's gonna blow up a hospital. Don't date her. Like, that's terrible. That's like, I can change them. Like, no, she didn't even know about that. Like, I could go on for the rest of this. We'll go 4 hours when we talk about Kelly. The character wasn't hateable in the right way for me, where I feel like it destructed it. Whereas with Nathan, I felt worse for Nathan. I didn't feel like he was a chump. Like, he was being a nice guy. With this, Eva kind of felt like a chump. And granted, she's younger and going in the rebound, but it felt like there was a couple more too many times that she forgave her that it kind of hurt Eva's character for me. So Kelly and her inclusion in this, I mean, if Bash went D, I'm going D.
Yeah, no, fair.
It's unanimous in the chat. C, I'm pretty sure you all mean D tier from what you wrote.
Okay.
Because it's D tier. It's D tier.
So Kane is next. I didn't include Valentine because Valentine was really barely in there. Like, I swear, she's like there, but like she's really not. Kane, I feel like, is more of a lieutenant, but even she's barely there. But her design is more memorable, so I included her. I put Kane as a C. I think Kane has the potential to be B. I really do. I think her design is higher than C, but I just don't feel like she's utilized, which is frustrating because I feel like so many of us like want to see her more. Like, we really do. We want to see her do some crazy shit. Like, I compared her to Wesker from like Resident Evil. I said like she has those vibes. She really does. She looks like that. She walks around like that with sunglasses on all the time. She could just be like this badass like cyborg woman. But so far she's just been very like assigning orders and not much action. Hopefully we see more of her, but for that reason for me I'll give her a C.
Yeah, I'm C as well. She's cool. She's a cool character for however little enough appearances she's in there. So it's a C for me. She definitely has room for growth though.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Cosign. She definitely, again, doesn't really do much for me other than her aesthetic is really cool. Yeah, her personality, she's pretty badass, but that's kind of as much as I can say about her. So
Yeah, cool aesthetic. I haven't really thought about the character since I read the issues, right? I feel like in more time there could be more, but yeah, next year we do this after like 6 more issues. But for me, C tier right now.
All right, and looks like chat kind of agrees between B and C, 50-50.
50-50.
But I still think C wins.
Probably
Though.
C.
Yeah, because we all said C, so I'll put her at C.
Yeah.
So Sheer is next. Sheer is cool. I like his design. I feel like it's a little more unique in the sense that you really get to see his face, gestures, and movements. I like that a lot about the mask. I like that he's just a clown, like, and he knows it. Like, I really like that component about his character. I think we do need some levity in Radiant Black, and I think he brings a lot of it. I like his, like, what he brings to the story in terms of he's an idiot. Like, I do like that a lot, but I don't think he's really much more than that. Like, I don't really think he's the kind of character that people go like, oh, I can't wait for Sheer to show up in an issue because like that's gonna be a really good like fight or something. It's not. It's gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to see like Sheer get dunked on by like Shift or something because he's just like a clown.
He had a couple crypto jokes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him a C. I would give him a B, but like I would give him a B on the crypto meme and everything alone. Like those were really cool. But like he really hasn't done much since then. If he does come back with a camaraderie with Excel like they've been teasing, I think they have more of a solid B potential. But right now, I'd say C. Oh baby.
Oh baby, I'll give him a B just because everything you said I agree with. It's just I enjoy reading. I enjoy the book more when he's in it. And so like I'm gonna have to give him a B for that.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, I think he's another guy you love to hate. But yeah, this guy gets pretty annoying for sure. For me, yeah, he doesn't really do much for me as some of the other like I don't know. He's probably on that mech. He's probably a little above Mecha for me. Kind of on that XL level. So yeah, I'll go with like B.
We really did open up Pandora's douchebag box with him because he's one of the douchiest characters I've read in comics. Like Kyle did an excellent job, and like making fun of the crypto bros and stuff. Like yeah, I agree with what Keen said
I
here.
agree with that.
That he's a funny, entertaining character, and you feel like Kyle has more potential this year. Yeah, and I feel like Kyle has fun writing him. Like Michael, and they were saying this is our most hated character so far that we're putting out there. The jokes are hilarious. He's sheerly beloved for me. I'm saying B tier because we haven't gotten a ton yet, but like yeah, as far as I'm cool with a jokey character, or someone you want to hate and you're happy to see knocked out at the end of the issue. Yeah, B.
Yeah, I'll say B as well. Like, but he's like with the knowledge that he's a joke, like a joke B. Like he's like Condiment King, right? Like that is kind of what he's like in the sense that like this is nobody takes him seriously.
Yeah, and Marshall's fun business, he's like evil business, like crypto and all. You know what I mean? Like he's a dark mirror.
There's a reason.
Chat pretty much agrees. Half the votes were for B. There's actually a couple for A as well.
Okay, here's B. So Suave, I think Suave is dope. I think he's really cool. He has a cool design, but I think like I agree with what Matt said. Like his archetype is similar to what's his name?
We need more with Sheer.
Yeah,
or not Sheer. Suave.
More of Suave. Yeah, he's barely been in the book, which is disappointing because I think he made quite a splash in the first issue. People enjoyed Suave. So for me, I think Suave is a B. I think he has a solid design. I think he's entertaining. I think he has a cool role as being one of Morningstar's like go-to guys. And I really like how they're teasing him in the background, but I don't think I can really realistically put him higher than a B. I don't think he's C. I don't think he's like, to me, I don't think he's as bad as like Billy Blood Moon, but like,
no,
like he's like a bit of a joke, but it's like, I do think like he has the potential to even go up to A, but it's just like we haven't seen it deliver yet.
Yeah, I agree. I really love his design, and I love every page or panel he's been in so far. It just hasn't been quite enough for me. and I see him as Morningstar's like second-hand man. He's his most trusted operator or whatever on Earth. So I'm just excited to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah, it's a character who's kind of been there from the beginning, so he does feel a little important in that sense. He's kind of been sprinkled throughout the entire series, but I even think I would even argue, personally, I think even Demonica's used a little better so far in the series than he has. So I'd probably go bottom of B.
I really like the design. Suave is like an awesome name. Like, I know Ryan knows it's an awesome name. That's another feather on the wing of Ryan Parrott there, but like it's a really nice pick. I feel like all we need is one issue with Marcus as starting off as Rogue Sun, fighting off against Suave, because we know there's an implied history to really send it home. I like the mark on his face. Like, he reminds me of Vega from Street Fighter with the mask and stuff like that. Like, you can tell he cares about his looks, but obviously gave up that for power or something like that, or something like there's elements of that there. So a few issues he could easily raise. It hurts me to put him in beer because I really in B. I just combined the words. It hurts me to put him that low because I feel like it's a really strong design, strong name, and there's definitely a history there that I just want to be let in on. So it's the toughest B for me, but yeah, B.
Yeah.
Yeah, and looks like Chad agrees as well. B it is.
So next we've got Mama Seagull. Mama Seagull, she's a great character. Is it Julie? Is that her name?
Juliet.
Juliet?
Yeah, Juliet.
Yeah, so Juliet's a great character. I like her a lot. I think she is a solid B, honestly. Like she's been. I wouldn't say she's as monotonous as some of the other characters who are one note, but like I actually think there's more to her. Like some of you guys are saying, like similar to Dottie, there's more that she's not letting on, in my opinion. Like, and her family history just seems pretty cool. Like I always wonder like why Marcus married her. Like, yeah, she's rich, but it seems like her family just has a cool history too. Like, are they associated with Rogue Sons or something? I don't know. I think there's always intrigue for me, so I'll give her a B.
I would go a step higher and give her an A. I feel like she's the unsung hero of all of Rogue Sun, pretty much. She keeps it together. Basically, the only one keeping everything together for Dylan, Brock, Ori. She took him in. She treats him well, even though he's her stepson who took basically her kid's birthright, which is the Sunstone. I think her and Dottie are holding that universe of Rogue Sun like, together. So she's an A tier for me.
Yeah, actually a lot of good points. I would probably say for me she'd be like the toppest of B, I would say. She is super important. I wouldn't say I personally I just don't enjoy her on the page as much as Dottie. Like when she's in there, enjoy some of those moments. But yeah, she is really big to Dylan, and I just love how like non-conditionally supportive she is for no reason. Like she really doesn't owe him anything. But I guess she just really trusts in Marcus, and I have a lot more questions about her, but I would probably go the toppest of B.
In my I'm thinking B in my heart, but really when you think about her, she's really important to she brought up the shroud and stuff like that. Like little at moments she brings up, like she knows the history, and I like how she mirrors Cataclysm, where it's like she didn't go with this. She wasn't saved like heroically, or at least I don't think so. She wasn't saved by him. She's just like, I know what I'm getting into, and I'm okay with that. And the element that she plays is like the wife of Rogue Sun, what that means, the magic the secrets you keep, and the kind of stuff. Like I think that it's a cool reflection of Dottie as well, where Dottie does her own like independent thing. I think she's smarter than she lets on, and I just like the character and the way that she works in the universe. So for me, she's A.
All right, let's see. And chat is unanimous B tier.
Fair enough.
So Thomason, Thomason, I think, has one of the coolest intros in the Massiverse. It's actually insane. I reread Supermassive 2023 recently, and she's just like killing Rogue Sun in her introduction. Like that's her introduction to the Massiverse, is her just fucking up Rogue Sun. So I don't know, man. Thomason's a really cool character. I think she had a huge impact on the story. Big surprise. I think looking from outside, we were like, this is probably going to be the villain. But then we were very surprised by the role she played, and then her involvement in the story led to a really cool moment at the end of the story as well. Actually, many cool moments, but a really cool surprise moment at the end of the story. So I'd say it's like I have to look at her role functionally, right? Like if her character was served its purpose, and I think looking at that purpose, I think it's an A. I think giving it an S would be a bit too generous, but I really think it was an A. I think looking at the fan response from Supermassive 2023, Thomason was one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing people were talking about. Like that was, everybody was raving about it. So there were many questions associated with it. So I would say A for me.
The history and lore she brings with her is big.
Yeah. I that's the reason I would go with A tier too. Like just even though she was only in one issue and she's probably not going to appear again, she did leave a huge mark and had a huge impact on not just Inferno Girl Red or Supermassive, but the entire Massiverse.
Yeah, I'll probably go A. I have a hard time kind of putting her over Dr. Caro or whatever her name is right now, like as an Inferno Girl. But I think like just her being in Supermassive and that surprise was just amazing. Her design was incredible. Now, do we know, because we do know like Caleb was the first rogue son, right? Or
was he the first?
According to him.
I think according to him. I had a question. Is this lady the first Inferno Girl Red ever? I'm not sure about that. I hope we see more of her. I think the lore just makes her really important. So
I think she's. I think her twist and the way it was implemented in Supermassive and the way that you can just read it again, knowing who she is, really adds like another layer. So it's almost like two issues with her, even though it's kind of cheating. And implying the past, like I like it. It's almost like vampires and werewolves, like these rogue sons and these Inferno Girl Red. You know what I mean? Like there's like an ancient connection. I like that it shines a light, and it's like the way she went about it. I feel like she's a complex character, and it's one issue, but it's pretty big for the lore and the connotations. I'd say, hey.
Yeah, it looks like Chad agrees too. 75%. A tier it is.
Sweet. So we got Valentine. Let's do this one really quick. I don't think this one's like it's like you can't really grade her. She's barely in the book. She has really cool moments when she's in the book. She's a very compelling character, and I always want to see more of her. Although she's been very like minimal she's been used in. Yeah, and it feels more devicey than it does. And I hope I'm wrong. Like I remember Valentine's Day, like issue 6 or something, 5 came out around Valentine's Day, and we were hoping that Valentine would have a moment, but she didn't really. That was kind of disappointing. We made jokes about it, obviously, but we was hoping for more. I think she's a solid C for me. I think she can be B or A, but we need more.
She's kind of she's in the book. Don't really care about her too much one way or the other, to be honest, but she's cool. I'll give her a solid C. She's not D quite, but she's a solid C.
Yeah, I need more. I need more. I need her to be like more of a villain and to do more destructive stuff to get power. You know what I mean? And to be more. I just need like a little bit.
I need to care about her more one way or the other. Like even like if I want to hate her, like just hate her or like her. Like I don't know whatever they want you to feel. Just more of that.
What about you, Ali?
Yeah, I'm C tier. Same with you guys. She's
Christy.
She's the cause.
She's one of the Morrow people. She worked with
Maria
Garcia, Officer Garcia, Maria Garcia. She's all right. I'd give her a C tier. There's not much to say.
What are people saying?
It's overwhelming C. It's C tier.
Okay, we're getting to the last 3. We're almost done here, and the next. These are all quick ones. So Vanessa from Rogue Sun. I'm torn between a B and a C. I actually like Vanessa a lot. I think she's a cool character. I think she has her moments. I don't know. I'll just give her a B to be nice. And I'm just feeling generous. I think she fits in the B anyway. I would like to see more of her. I think she had some of the coolest moments some of the coolest moments in Rogue Sun, or sweetest moments, are tied with her because like that one asking out to the prom moment. I thought that was really cool, and we got a really cool story from Ryan Parrott, and he told us that like that was actually happened and everything. So cool things like that. I like so she's like a voice of consciousness almost, even though she's still a teenager, but she seems more level-headed than a lot of the other teenagers. There's like typical like cheerleader like dynamics that go into it, but for that reason, I'll just say B generously. Could be a C, could go B either way, but I'll just say B.
No, I'll stick. I'm a solid B for Vanessa. She's fleshed out so far. Yeah, there's not much to her. You know what? I'm changing my opinion. It's a C. I'm saying C for Vanessa. She's kind of just there, and it's either be with Dylan or don't be with Dylan. Stop dragging him along. She's a C for me.
Yeah, I think she has more potential. I think the only thing kind of hanging up right now is like kind of the only good interaction they've had was it wasn't actually even Dylan in the body. So I don't know. I don't think she's kind of on Juliet's level either yet. So I'll put her C.
I get the C's for sure. I like Vanessa. I like the way that she's not really like mean to Dylan. Like you get the impression like she knows a lot about Dylan, how shitty his life is, and there's a real connection. But the saddest breakups or when people split apart, it's like I wish you could just make a few small changes and work on yourself so we could actually get this going. And you got that impression from it, and I like that element. One knock against Vanessa, she feels. I know like women tend to mature faster than men, but she's the most mature teenager I think of all time, up there with like Harriet or something like that, where like she talks like she's not in high school. Like she's like 25 or something. She's had a lot of time in the world. That's not like it doesn't make her a bad character. It's just something I noticed. So she's really mature for a teenager, but I like her and the way she handles the Bashar stuff, and she gives us backstory on Dylan, and she's B for me until we hear the porta potty incident, what actually happened, to really paint how I feel about that character.
Well, chat is unanimously B tier, so I think that beats us. Yeah,
That's
Vanessa.
All. There you go. So Lord Viathan, I like Lord Viathan, Scourge of the Deep a lot. I love the upcoming variant they're doing for him. I think it's like Rosen 15 or 16. There's a variant for Lord Viathan by Carly Draws. It's so nice. It's actually the image we used for his thumbnail there. I'll give Lord Viathan a B. I just really like him. I no rhyme or reason. I think he has a really fun design. Takes me back to being a kid playing certain games. I like Rogue Sun's villains a lot. Sorry, I'll give him a C. Sorry, but I do think he has a B or A like design. The only reason I'm giving him a C is just because he hasn't shown up much. That's it. Purely that's it. If he showed up more, I'd give him a B. But he's a C for me.
Yeah, same here. He was really in one issue. It was a great issue, and they made use of him very well. But he's a C for me.
Yeah, I think he belongs kind of in that Billy Blood Moon Finnegan kind of tier of villain. So yeah, I'll put him in C. I think his design is probably my favorite out of those, but yeah, still just haven't seen it much about him.
Yeah, I assume he gets mailed to an Leviathan. Like, I just the name is like kind of cheesy, and I think it's perfect like C movie tier fodder like name, like Godzilla. You can name, and that's not a bad thing. Like, you need some of those, right? You know what? It's not a knock. It's like a loving C for me. I'm putting him in C, because Ornate was the big villain, and Leviathan was kind of just like inevitability in what that was. So in the situation, so yeah, Lord Viathan, great villain to have around. C tier. But it's a C tier in one of the best rogues galleries in the Massiverse, so
yeah,
pretty good.
Oh, that's true.
Yep, Chad agrees as well. C it is.
Alrighty, last character then. 3 hours in, but we're gonna end it here. This is what happens, and in the future, I think tier lists will be much shorter because there's gonna be so many characters. At least ones who linger.
We could just go with this and see if anyone's changed even too, like going up or going down next time.
That's actually a great idea. Yes, we are, Ali. Yeah, we'll do a randomizer for the giveaways right after we do our final vote. So we're going to do the giveaways right after this. And we'll give away the Supermassive and AF15, Homage, Tan, Ivan Tao, variant. All I'm going to say is, though, so CJ, Capital J, and Radiant Greg, you guys can't be in this giveaway because you both won this cover. So you can be in the other one. So I just want to give more people a chance to win more things. So the last one, Winston, I would personally vote Winston C, but I think she's a B or A design. I like her character a lot. She reminds me of Jinx from League of Legends. I really like her role a lot. I just think we haven't really seen her much, but whenever she pops up in the story, it's so funny. It reminds me of playing Devil May Cry, about how like, or any other game where you're like playing a very hardcore action game and then there's just random vendors like all over the map, like in the most deadly places. It's just like, that's Winston. She's just there when you need her to be. You know, it's just like, oh, there's like someone who has all the shit I need in the middle of this like how convenient.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I love that. I love that it like we like, you know, Melissa loves playing video games. She said as much. We've seen her tweet as much several times. She's super cool. She's a gamer, and like I love that she kind of puts some gamer elements into Dead Lucky. If you really play video games, you'll see a lot of it in Dead Lucky. It's really cool. Like I find it refreshing, and it's not overdone. It's not like tacky. It's actually well integrated. So Winston, I would say she's a B in my heart, but I'm gonna say C for the stream because like she really hasn't been in the story much. But it's one character I'm always looking out for, even if it's a fucking cameo, because she's so cool. So yeah, C for me.
Yeah, she's a C for me as well. I do love Winston. I wish she was A tier, but we just really haven't seen her that much. She was in like, I don't know, 3-4 pages total, so C tier for me.
I'm gonna go with you guys on this one. Yeah, definitely unique design. Really goes with the Dead Lucky aesthetic. But yeah, just C for me.
Yeah, I like what Bash was saying about like an action game where you see like the vendor maybe she's someone that just kind of like joined your party or is like there to, you know, sell some wares or offer like skill trees and stuff. It needs more time in the oven. Cool design has like a ceiling to rise up. It definitely could be like A tier or something like that, but right now C for me.
And looks like this chat agrees as well. It's unanimous.
Well, there you go.
And there we have it.
Yeah, that's the tier list 2023. I'll take a screenshot right there and save it, and we'll tweet her out in a second here right after the stream. But first of all, thank you so much to everybody today. Seriously, 3 hours, it's a long time, but really appreciate you sticking.
Appreciate everyone who's been here from the beginning too.
Yeah,
I know it's not easy.
Really do, yeah. And it's always so much fun to talk with the community and get everyone's thoughts. These are your voted, for the most part. I mean, I guess with our thoughts, but these are the community's thoughts. The people who show up today, their list, right? This is not one person's list. It's really cool to see what everybody voted for. Anyway, I love the S tier list. It's exactly what I thought it would be for the most part. So just type Radiant in the chat if you want to be entered into the giveaway. Literally just type the word Radiant right now. When we're entering the giveaway.
Let me just
we're gonna
show them the book real quick.
Names. So the first giveaway is for the Ivan Tao variant, the AF-15 homage Radiant Black number 11, and the second one is the Supermassive 2023 variant, and that's signed. Is that signed by Ryan? Sorry.
It is signed by Ryan. It's actually the One Stop Comic Shop exclusive by Jeff Edwards.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the signature.
So yeah, we removed Kathy because we wanted to eliminate bias from the competition. Obviously, everybody here would have
be
voted
too biased. Yeah,
we didn't want to get Matt going, man. Like at one point, Ali was messaging me and he's like, "Should I include Z?" And I'm like, "Oh, you really want to get Matt going today?" That would be like, man's gonna.
Look, it's Canada Day. We got barbecues to get to and stuff. We don't need a 5-hour stream on just Kathy before we get to everyone else.
Yeah. All right. So basically, what Tyler just did, just write Radiant in the chat if you want to be entered into the giveaway. That's all you gotta do. Just write the word Radiant in the chat, and we'll put your name right now in the giveaway, and we'll randomize.
Don't be cute. Don't put like an accent over the A, because that does not count. We're like robots. We can't register that, and we don't even know what that is. No. But yeah. Right?
Oh yeah, and one last thing is thank you so much to we actually finally updated our you can see it here. Oh no, that's gonna be me. We finally updated our information page, which we have at the end of all our streams, or just throughout our streams of podcast streams. And now we have our patrons there, so a lot of which are in the stream here right now with us. So thank you, Jordan, Joe J, Patrick, and Noah, who's here with us. Thanks so much, man. Yeah, dude, I've been Team Kathy since the beginning, but nobody's been more Kathy than Matt, to be honest with you.
No,
he's been sporting the Kathy, the Catholicism, according to him, since the beginning. All right, Ali. So do two giveaways. Do one. I know, Chris. I figured it was Chib, man. I figured it was throughout. Good to see you, buddy. It's really good to see you. So I see the one sec.
So we have
yeah.
I have Noah, Owen, Chris, and Tyler.
That's for one. That's for the supermassive, and then sorry, that's for this one, and then for the supermassive, put everybody's name. So put CJ's name in for supermassive because I know he was in here, and
Okay.
yeah, I see his name right here, and put Radiant Greg, but don't put their name in for the AF15 one because they already won those.
Okay, so I'll do the supermassive one first. So
Yep.
I have Tyler, Noah, Owen, Chris T, CJ, and Greg.
Yep.
All
I
right.
think so. Tyler, Owen, Noah. Tyler, Owen, Noah, Chris T, CJ, and Greg. Yep, that's everybody.
And it is Chris T. Congratulations.
Uh-huh.
Hey,
Congrats.
Jimmy.
Congrats,
Nice.
man.
So Chib won the first book, and then for the AF15 homage, we've got Owen, Tyler, Noah, right? Because Chib won, so I'm gonna remove him from the pickings. And Greg and CJ already won that one. I think that's everyone. Yeah. Good luck, guys.
So the winner for the Ivan Tao variant is Noah.
Hey,
Noah.
Noah.
Congrats.
Noah, congratulations,
Awesome.
buddy. I think you've told me you like Spider-Man before, but most people like Spider-Man. So there you go, an AF15 homage. I don't really know anyone that does.
I'm not familiar.
I've never Spider-Man. I'm not familiar with that Ben Riley guy. Yeah. So thank you so much everyone for joining us. Next week, this time it'll be a lot shorter, I promise. Maybe like an hour and a half. It'll be a very quick trivia, very high stakes. Like we said, the winner will get the Rogue Sun poster signed by Ryan Parrott and the Radiant Black number 18 Infinite Edition signed by Kyle Higgins. And then there's a second place award for another winner, and it's going to be a Rogue Sun ratio incentive signed by Ryan Parrott.
We'll
There
try
you
to we'll streamline it for sure. Let us know if you like the long form or if you like short form. Let us know in the comments too. That informs us and lets us know what you guys want and makes it easier for all of us.
Yeah. So I just want to say one last thing. The questions are not going to be very hard. If you've read Rogue Sun through one time, you should be able to answer most of the questions. If you really want to get like a very high grade, like you want to be competitive, you're probably going to have
If you want to be Owen, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
if you want to be Owen, you're probably going to have to read it all like once with a very close eye or twice, and you'll have probably able to answer everything. It's not going to be like Radiant Black where I'm going to ask you guys to answer questions like what is this radiant word? What does it mean? I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
to you
we're not
guys.
going for the head with the questions.
we're
We'll
not
get like a
doing
couple hard ones near the end.
And I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask Ryan Parrott if he wants to put a question in for you guys because
All right.
that's always nice. So we'll see what he says. He said he was interested in playing. I don't know if he was serious, but he'll kick our ass.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, are we gonna include the Grey Go backup stories, or is it just the Rogue Sun stuff? No, just the Rogue Sun.
Just
stuff.
Rogue Sun.
You don't have to wait. Just the Rogue Sun. And like literally, all the only issues that would be included in Rogue Sun trivia are Supermassive 2022, Supermassive 2023, and then all issues of Rogue Sun. That's it. Nothing else is in the Rogue Sun trivia. So if you just read those issues, you'll know all the answers.
It's like 14 issues of stuff. Not too bad.
Yeah, 14 issues or 15 issues. Really not much. And it's if you haven't read Rogue Sun yet, shame on you. Go buy it. Or we're gonna be giving it away soon.
Please, like if this book isn't on the shelves, please don't kick yourself. Get the book while you want the book. Trust me.
It's so good. Anyway, we've taken up of everyone's time. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Congratulations to the winners. You just have to DM me on Twitter and just be like, I won. I'm this person, and here's my address, and we'll send it out to you ASAP. A happy Canada Day to everybody who's Canadian, and have a great day. We'll see you next time. Stay radiant.